Coolum, the final showdown in the Uncle Toby Super Series. And can Trevor Hendy be stopped from winning his third straight year? That's the key question surrounding today's marathon race. At the Portsea Quadrathon, the Surfers Paradise and World Ironman champion again showed his consistency, winning the ski leg and finishing up there in the other events to win the day. Trevor now has a lead of 6 on adjusted points over arch-rival Guy Leech, with Rideau and Guy Andrews 2 points further back. For Trevor Hendy to lose the series, he must finish 7th or worse, while of course Guy Leech must win. For Rideau and Guy Andrews to take the series, they must also win, with Hendy finishing 10th or worse and Leachy coming in 4th. So the odds well and truly favour Trevor Hendy. Indeed, he won this event last year, so he knows what he's up against here at Coolum. Then again, he's also finished worse than 10th in a few Ironman races. So will we see the rest of the field working as a group to try and stop Trevor? Tactics play an important role. And here at Coolum, it's Hendy's competitive resolve up against the mob to see who will win this third Uncle Toby Super Series.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Coolum on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland and Channel 10's coverage of the final race, Race 6 in the Uncle Toby Super Series. Today's finale, a magnificent chopper shot there at the magnificent Hyatt Regency Resort, and our Ironman will see a lot of the grounds of the magnificent resort when they compete in the run leg later on this afternoon. Good afternoon again. As I said, Eddie Maguire here, joined by Mick Porr in a few moments' time. It really is Trevor Hendy Day here at Coolum. He is the man to beat. He is headed for his third successive Super Series title, and of course he is the defending champion here at Coolum. Well, Coolum, not that far from Brisbane, about an hour or about 90 minutes drive really, north of Brisbane, and it is on the Sunshine Coast between Noosa to the north and Maroochydore to the south. And joining me, Mick Porr, a man who has won 15 titles at various disciplines in the surf, mainly the board. Mick, a great race today, but Trevor Hendy, he really is the man to beat.
Yeah, he sure is. These are his conditions, well and truly. The surf is about 2 or 3 feet, but it's very, very choppy. And Trevor Hendy is going into this race knowing that if he finishes in the top 6, he will tie up the championship. There's the surf, you can see it there now. Not very big, but wind blown, and conditions that Trevor Hendy really, really enjoys. Now, having said that, I also believe that Guy Leech is a very big chance here today. I think the two of them are probably equal favourites, and Leech, of course, will thrive on the hot conditions. It's over 30 degrees here today, and I believe that the two of them are going to slog it out. Now, there are a number of guys also who can give them a run today. I think Guy Andrews is in good form, as is Craig Riddington. And if you look at the adjusted points, now these are the points for the series so far, having thrown away one race, their worst result. Hendy's in front on 78, then Leech on 72, Riddington and Andrews on 70. Now I think both those guys are a chance, and Scott Thompson, who finished second at Portsea, running 5th over on the series, is also a chance, as is Cox and Sean Kenny. Jonathan Crowe there as well, and I think any of those guys could possibly take out today. Hayden Reese, John Robinson not competing, then Andrew Mickle, Barry Newman, Jay Gilbert, Rick Pallister, Brent Payne, Dwayne Thies, who's back in 16th, but we'll see a lot more from him today, Scott Mortimer, Matthew Rees, Miles Blackwell, Scott Sorrell sneaking into 20th, then Graham Bruce and the New Zealander Corey Hutchings. They're the top 22 on points at this stage.
Yes, certainly a wide open race, as you say, but Trevor Hendy, the defending champion, well, he's out for the money again today. He has cleaned up the last 2 series, as we've already said. Let's have a look at the prize money now. Race 6 today worth $50,000.
Yes, and that prize money, they're just the first 4, but the prize money, in fact, going right down to 20th place. But the big money, $475,000 all up, and $200,000 in that bonus pool. That money will be split today, after today's result, amongst all of these guys, and everyone will be out to try and take the lion's share of that business. It's going to be a very, very serious, fast race today. And of course, the winner, and a big chance it could be Trevor Hendy to take his second Daihatsu Feroza. And you can see that fantastic Feroza just going for a spin along the beach there right in front of the Hyatt Coolum Resort. And it is the best compact 4-wheel drive in Australia. And in fact, only a couple of days ago, Eddie, the 1992 Energy Challenge was won by the Feroza, and that makes it the most efficient 4-wheel drive. I think 35 miles per gallon, as we see Miles Blackwell taking it for a spin. It reached, and Guy Leech actually took it through its paces to do that, and it's a great car.
Well, we'll see. Trevor Hendy might be taking over the driver's seat there soon. He'll be able to open up his own Daihatsu showroom soon, the way he's going. Well, of course, this is the final race, Race 6. We've had 5 great races so far in the Uncle Toby Super Series. Trevor Hendy has been the victor on 3 occasions. Guy Leech and Jonathan Crowe, the other champion so far. Let's have a look back on the first 5 races of the series.
The 91-92 Uncle Toby Super Series began with one of the toughest Ironman events, the 47-kilometre Gold Coast Gold. Guy Leech and Trevor Hendy weren't there, and this opened the door for new boy Jonathan Crowe. Then it was on to North Bondi, and Trevor Hendy entered the fray with a vengeance, winning the first two races and taking out the day with a close tussle in the third. Then the first twilight race was next at Manly. Primetime television debuts for the men from Uncle, and while Guy Andrews and Guy Leech tussled for the lead, they didn't count on Trevor Hendy sidling into third place on the final run leg. Hendy waited and waited till he knew no one could go with him in the final sprint to the line. Look at the sprint from Trevor Hendy, he's blind. So Hendy went to the lead, and the Uncle Toby Super Series then went OS to Mount Maunganui, New Zealand, and race 4, a 2.5-hour marathon. A race more to Guy Leech's liking, he was determined to get back into contention. Rideau was also competing for the lead, but in the end, the Manly champion, Guy Leech, proved his marathon ability once again. The Portsea Quadrathon saw some exciting finishes. First, Guy Leech won the swim. Then, after some great wave action, Hayden Reese took out the board leg. Then Trevor Hendy wore down the opposition on the ski leg. And while Murray Cox and Scotty Thompson fought out a keen tussle on the run, with Coxie pulling away, the day once again belonged to Trevor Hendy. Now to the final event at Coolum in the Uncle Toby Super Series.
So 5 down, 1 to go. Trevor Hendy in the box seat when we return. Welcome back to the Hyatt Regency Coolum here. As you can see, a big crowd starting to build up as well for the start of the Ironman series in a few moments' time. Things are starting to hot up as well here, and the weather's starting to build up, Mick. Now, this is a separate race, a different race compared to Portsea a fortnight ago, where there was 4 separate races, the Quadrathon. This is one race from start to finish. Yeah, it's a very different race altogether. Totally different event. It's a 2-hour race, and if we just have a look at that race map, you'll see that we have 3 different legs continuously running within the water area, and they actually start off with a 2.4-kilometre board, and then go into 5-kilometre run, which takes them right through the resort itself, up through the 3rd hole and up to the clubhouse, through to the village square, then back down up towards the Ambassadors Club. Then some great scenes as they head down the 18th hole. They really are spectacular. This is one of the real features of the Ironman series, this run through this course, but very hard as they head back to the beach club, back down to the beach. Then we continue on after the board with a swim, that's 1.2k, then 3.6 kilometres on the ski, that's those outside yellow lines, and then we do one more board, another swim, and another ski, and that's the finish of the race. Should take about 2 hours all up. It's a very definitely an endurance specialist race. Really shouldn't be Hendy's race, but the guy is just so clever that he could win over this course as well as the sprint races. You make it sound so easy too, Mick. It's certainly not. Well, we look forward to that in a few moments' time. But in the meantime, we've had a great competition with Uncle Toby's over the last, during the complete series. $100,000 on offer today. Today's big prize. We've given away 4 Ferozas so far. Let's go down to Wayne Pearce now. And Wayne, no doubt you've been stuffing the ballot box with your own name, I think, for 100 large.
Unfortunately, Eddie, the security guards wouldn't let me near the barrel to get my late entries in. But I wish the winner all the best. And today's winner is going to be drawn by Mr. Neil Lister, who's the Chief Executive of Uncle Toby's Australia. Neil, has the competition been received?
Wayne, we've been delighted with the response. We almost couldn't fit them in the barrel, but we just managed to. So let's get on with it.
Let's do the honours. $100,000 cash. It's a lot of money. I know what I'd do with 100 grand. I'd spend it wisely, but I'd put enough money aside to spend a week's holiday right here at the Hyatt Regency at Coolum, eating Uncle Toby's product for breakfast. It's a great product, Neil.
Wayne, here's the winner. $100,000 cash goes to a great Uncle Toby's consumer, Morris Smith of Caulfield North in Victoria. Well done, Morris.
Yeah, congratulations to Morris. Caulfield North. It's going to be a big party happening down that way tonight. Thanks for entering the competition to everybody that entered. Thousands of people out there entered the competition. Thanks for your support, and thanks to Uncle Toby's for their support. Been a great supporter of the series so far, and back on deck again next year.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Yeah, we've been enjoying it.
Thanks for your help, Neil.
Great.
And now it's back to the studio as we get closer to the start of the race.
Yes, thanks very much, Wayne. $100,000 to Morris there in South Caulfield. I think I might be round to see you tomorrow, Morris. Maybe a bit of a sling. You never know, Mick. One of our very good supporters down there. We'll have to see. Well, there's some other competitors, not our Ironman in action today. It's the Pora said that it was a wide-open race, this final Uncle Toby Super Series race here at Coolum. And we spoke to the competitors this morning as they were getting ready for action.
I'm not really worrying about the series going into it. If I worry about the series, I'll end up coming 10th or something, you know. So I've got to go into this race and think, 2 hours, I'm not the performer over 2 hours. Let's get a little step closer to being the performer.
Yeah, I'll be going all out, and I think that you know, you've really got to take that attitude of take no prisoners, because it, you know, it's just so important.
Most certainly, I've geared my training up to win this event, because realistically, I've looked at it and said this is probably my best format for the year. So yeah, I believe I can win it.
Yeah, I feel good. You know, I've recovered from the 40 race, and I've got no injuries or anything. So I'm 100%. There's going to be no excuses, and it's the last race of the series, so I'll be out there to give it my best.
I think I prepared myself pretty well from Portsea leading up to this race. I've tried not to do anything stupid or silly or out of the extraordinary, so I'm looking for a good race, and I can't wait to race today.
I'm going to win it in the second swim leg, I think, and the last ski leg. If I can be up there with the leaders and then try and pull away towards the end of the swim leg and the last ski leg, then I'll have a chance of winning, I think.
Yeah, I think, you know, I feel confident. You know, this race suits me. I mean, it suits a lot of other guys as well, but I'm on form, and I've had my focus on this race for most of the season, and I haven't won this year yet, so you know, it's about time.
Yes, a wide-open race. Trevor Hendy, of course, the favourite going into this race today. Who will win? We'll find out when we come back after this break. Welcome back. Some of the great scenes here from the Hyatt Regency Coolum, and one of the great scenes we'll see later today will, of course, be the 5-kilometre run through the grounds of the Hyatt Regency Coolum here. But often, well, more than often, usually it is one on the water here, this race. And John Holt, a two-time World Ironman champion, is down there at the moment. Johnny, what's the conditions like?
Good afternoon, Eddie. Good afternoon, Michael. Well, the conditions are really ideal for Ironman racing. In the last hour or so, the tide's dropped to a low tide, and the surf will certainly come into play. We've got a 1 to 1.2 metres swell that's coming from the east, and we've got a 10 to 15 knot sou'easter that's blowing quite strongly out here, and the choppy waves will certainly come into play as each of the athletes turns the buoys and heads back to shore.
John, I see this as a classic confrontation between Hendy and Leech. Now, the choppy water will favour Hendy, but the 2-hour time frame and that long, hot run should favour Leech.
Well, that's really going to be exciting, Michael. There is really rivalry between Trevor Hendy and Guy Leech. Leech knows how well he can go over 2 hours, and Trevor Hendy really wants to prove to these other guys that he can stick it out. And these choppy conditions will certainly be good for Trevor. He loves to get in and out of the chop, and he uses his power and his strength to ride these waves, and they'll be into play all afternoon this afternoon.
Good on you, John. Well, of course, we'll be crossing to John throughout the afternoon to find out what's going out on the water. Now, Mick, of course, we've been here for a few days now at the Hyatt Regency. It's not a bad life, is it?
Well, it's hard to get the boys out training. I mean, there's tennis courts and golf courses, and we've got the lot here, really, the spa and the sauna and the massages. And
yeah, it's a fantastic
terrible
place. Well, of course, it is dark, cold, lonely work being an Ironman, sometimes.
The beautiful beach at the foot of Mount Coolum, part of the Hyatt Regency Coolum Resort, featuring a village-style atmosphere. Headquarters for the Uncle Toby's Ironmen, who have been well looked after this week. Some of the men from Uncle have been sharpening up their golf game and taking a few bets on the side on the magnificent layout nestled below the mountain, while others have been getting in some target practice of another kind, and showing they've got their eye in for today's race. The Hyatt Regency at Coolum features a unique style of accommodation with all kinds of training facilities for our Ironmen, who also took to the skies and have enjoyed getting a bird's-eye view of the beautiful reception area and golf course, and a quick trip down the 18th fairway showing off the golf club. All part of the natural beauty and design of this great place to stay on Queensland's Sunshine Coast.
Yes, I'm not sure if that was the magic of television or the magic of Trevor Hendy there, Mick.
Well, I wouldn't put it past him.
Now, of course, one of our other competitions has been the Point Break competition. The film starring Patrick Swayze has been on our screens for a while now. A great movie, and of course you've watched it, Mick.
Yeah, we had a private screen they put on for the boys, and this hit on New Year's Day and went to #1 straight away. A fantastic movie, and you can see Swayze there in some of the action. He did all his own stunts, skydiving, and he did some surfing, and it really is the best adrenaline-pumping action movie you're going to want to see. Just a fantastic flick, and I tell you what, we had a lot of fun. We were hooting all the way through it.
Here's Patrick Swayze said that he reverted to his old nickname as a kid of Crazy Swayze to do his own stunts. I think you'd have to agree with that. Well, one person who is about to go crazy is the winner of our Point Break competition, and the winner is Mr. Andrew Scarlett of Tullamarine in Victoria. So the Vic's having a big day so far. Andrew Scarlett of Tullamarine. And Mick, what does Andrew Scarlett win? He takes home some great prizes, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a trip for 2 to Hawaii, including airfares and accommodation. And while they're there, they'll see the Pipeline Masters. So it's a wonderful trip and a very apt trip, I guess, for the prize for this particular movie and for this competition.
Yeah, so congratulations to Andrew Scarlett of Tullamarine in Victoria. And we'll be back with the start of the Uncle Toby's Ironman Super Series here from Coolum after the break. Lovely shot there of Mount Coolum, the villas in the foreground, and I think that's the 5th hole there, Mick Porra, of this great golf course here at the Hyatt Regency Coolum. Now, it's a wide open race today. We're just about ready for a start. Take us through the list and tell us who are the big chances, Mick.
Yeah, sure is a wide open race. We look at Hendy as the #1 seed, through to Andrews, Riddington, Leech, Hayden Reese and Barry Newman, Scott Thompson, Dwayne Thies, Jay Gilbert, Andrew Mickle. Any of those guys a chance today. Sean Kenny, Matthew Rees, Rick Pallister, then Miles Blackwell, Scott Mortimer, Todd Borland, Jonathan Crowe and Murray Cox also a chance out there today. Graham Bruce, Spotty Anderson, and then we have Brent Payne, Corey Hutchings from New Zealand, Scott Sorrell, Peter Downing, Samuel Moore, Paul Wright, Craig Shelton, who could lead early, and Stuart Adams. 28 starters all up. It's an elite field, and it will be a crack pace.
Yes, well, a fortnight ago at Portsea, Craig Riddington mucked up any chance he had of winning the race by having the wrong tactics at the start of the race. Let's go down to Wayne Pearce now on the beach. And Wayne, any of the boys told you any of the tactics for the start?
Well, Eddie, I've spoken to a number of the competitors, and they all said how important it was to get off to a good start. They see it as a huge advantage to lead that board leg at the first turn. It's going to be tough because they've got a 250-metre run up the beach, which means the good runners are probably going to enter the water first and lead the board out. But a man who might be able to tell us a little bit more about advantages of being in front on this board leg in such toppy weather is John Robinson, who's out injured at the moment. But Robbo, what's the advantage of being out in front under these conditions?
Well, the guys are going to run down here and jump on their boards. They're going to punch out into the chop you can see behind me. And the first guys that turn that can and run the chops with the wind behind them, they're going to get the advantage because they're going to be going with the wind while the others are still going to be punched into it.
So who do you think is going to be in front of that first turning boy?
I think the board run specialist, obviously, and I think Hayden Reese.
We'll speak to you a bit later on, Robbo. Thanks.
Thanks, mate.
And it's back to you, Eddie, as we await the start. It's just about to jump.
Yes, good on your way in there. As you can see, the chop coming in there, Mick. Really important to get a good start here. 250-metre sprint to the boards. Here, let's have a look at the board leg now.
Okay, so it's one lap of what we call a butterfly course. They go to the left side of the course around boys 1 to 4, then back to the beach through the surf and back out again, boys 5 to 8, before discarding their board and running off then into the resort. Set for a start now. Race 6, the final round of the Uncle Toby Super Series. A 200-metre run before they jump onto the boards. And as you can see, as Gary Seals, the series director, gets them underway, magnificent scenes here from the beach, right out in front of the Hyatt Regency Hotel. They've really gone off very, very quickly, and the reason for that, as Wayne Pearce was talking about with John Robinson, is that the advantage on getting onto those boards first and taking off and getting up with the leaders. If you're caught behind, you're in lots of trouble. And as Johnny Robinson predicted, Hayden Reese, along with Craig Shelton and Guy Andrews, are the early leaders onto the board, and Trevor Hendy is right there as well. So very, very fast. Going out through these waves, Johnny Hogg, you've got a great view, but the waves will make the difference all day.
They certainly will, Michael. We got good advice from John Robinson, and great to see him back on the beach. But coming in that first 200 metres through the surf, they'll really be motoring out there. I don't think they'll be thinking that it's a 2-hour race. They'll be taking this board leg as a 1 out and really trying to get out and get amongst it, get away from that surf and get a clear bit of water in which they can settle into a rhythm for the rest of this 2-hour race.
Yes, we might just explain for our viewers, John Robinson earlier on this year. In fact, about a month or two ago, had a terrible bike accident and badly hurt his leg and his hip and his knee, and he's been through a series of operations. In fact, was in hospital. And it's great to see him up here at the Hyatt Coolum, and we expect to see him back on the paddock next year, so to say, for a next go at the series, Eddie. And tragic accident for him, but he'll come back.
Yes, great to see Robbo up here. Now, Trevor Hendy was saying earlier today that you know, he's caught between the devil and the deep blue sea in a number of ways here. He'd love to go out and win this race. Of course, he is the defending champion here at Coolum, but he also knows that he only has to finish in the top 6 or 7 to finish either equal first or outright leader. And of course, if he does finish equal first in 7th position with Guy Leech, he will win on a countback. But he said today, of all the races he's gone into this season, this is the one he feels the best going into. Of course, he had pneumonia at the start of the year, missed the first race. He broke his finger just before the Portsea race, badly broke his finger. So let's hope it could be a good omen for him that he's going into this race in tip-top condition.
Well, he certainly is, and I think that's the beauty of today's race. There are absolutely no excuses here today. Trevor Hendy is in tip-top shape, as you've said. He started the season slowly, and I might just say that's Craig Shelton on that the light red coloured board, who's opened up about a length lead. Craig Shelton, 28 years of age, from the Service Paradise Surf Club. That's Trevor Hendy on that white board right behind him. Jay Gilbert in there. I can just see that yellow board. Looks like the white cap. That's Jay Gilbert in 3rd position. And Trevor Hendy very, very comfortably placed at this stage. And yes, Trevor, no excuses out here today. He won this event last year. He's right back to his best shape. The big question mark, Johnny Holt, for me will be exactly where Guy Leech is placed, because he's the one that's going to really hurt these guys, if anyone is going to, and this is his worst leg.
Well, Michael, he's a notoriously slow starter in these sort of 2-hour events. He just has that ability to grind them down as the afternoon wears on. But if he lets Trevor get too far away in these choppy conditions, Trev's surf skills will be able to just sort of open up the lead and make it difficult for the Leech, for Guy Leech to settle into a rhythm. But they're all there in that first bunch. They're coming out now. They're about onto Boy 2, I think, on our numbered course. We've got Craig Shelton, Trevor Hendy, and Guy Andrews in the red singlet, very well placed as well.
And Hayden Reese right behind that. So
well, we'd expect that Hayden Reese would be there. He's had a sensational season.
Well, Guy Andrews has said before this race too that he's very confident about winning. He broke through for his first win ever last year down at Glenelg Beach and finished 2nd in the series overall. He really did look like the guy at only 21 years of age that could be the heir apparent to Trevor Hendy's crown. Not that Hendy's going to lose that crown so easily, but he's very well placed in 2nd position, Guy Andrews. He's a former Australian junior Ironman champ, and he's in 2nd. He's in fact in 3rd position at the moment, along with Jay Gilbert and Hayden Reese, as we can see them on the left-hand side of your screen, just up in the top corner. Craig Shelton in front, Trevor Hendy in 2nd. Then we have Hayden Reese, Guy Andrews and Jay Gilbert. They're the top 5 as they head out towards Johnny Holt. And you might be able to call us with Johnny Holt right on that boat there. You've got some great pictures there from Johnny. Let's call them around.
I will indeed, Michael. I'm sitting on the back of the Seawell boat and I have a fantastic view of this. Craig Shelton's first around. Craig Shelton, very powerful board paddler. He's got about a 2-metre lead to Trevor Hendy. We then see Jay Gilbert, whose board paddling has improved so much this season. Hayden Reese sneaking through the inside. We've got Guy Andrews, Brent Payne, and then we've got, looks like Sean Kenny, Scott Mortimer, Craig Riddington, Dwayne Ties. I can make it through there. There's Leachy and Andy Meikle and Scott Thompson there. So all the top 15. Leach would be about probably 20 metres off the pace at this point in time, but well placed early stages of this race.
And one of the guys, John, who we expect could well and truly feature in the next run leg, who's the fastest runner, Murray Cox, was way back in probably about 20th position.
Yeah, well, Michael, they're not that well spread at the moment. It's still about 50 metres, and everybody's using the drafting technique that you know so well to stay in a bunch. The bunch hasn't separated. It won't be till they turn the last buoy and head back with the following sea into shore that they might open up a little bit. We've got a long way to go. We've got another 2 kilometres or so to go on the board, so it's early days, and no one's really been struck by any incidents. We've had incidents that have put favourites out of the race early in the past, but it's incident-free, and they're all there ready to race this afternoon.
Okay, as we head along the back of the course, and before long they'll turn and head back into the water. That's Craig Shelton from Service Paradise Beach. He's a bit of a veteran at these events. He's 28 years of age, and Craig Shelton is a former Australian board paddling champion. He also finished 2nd to Trevor Hendy in the World Board Paddling Championships at Southboard Beach back in 1989. I've competed against him, Eddie, several times on the board myself, and I know just how strong this guy is. You can see the slow rating. He's a very powerful man, about 14.5 stone. and the others are working hard to stay with him. He's turned the white turning buoy now, and he's on his way back to the beach. And this, Johnny Holt, is where the difference is going to be made on all the waves as they head back into the surf area.
They certainly will. They can ride these chops, Michael, from out here. So we're 350 metres off the shore, but these guys can still race on these chops and run. And the guys that have the most energy and are the fittest can turn a 1 metre space into about 10 by really working hard on these chops. And that's what's happening now. Trevor's up to in about second again, and we'll see as they come into the break. The sandbanks become exposed in the last half an hour with that dropping tide, and even these waves will be rideable from about 200 metres out.
Okay, and then we've got a great shot from the rubber ducky of Craig Shelton. Now what he's doing here, he's trying to push those onto those runs behind him, and Trevor Hendy has moved right into shot now and has flown past him. Look at Hendy's pulled a little chop, and in fact it may turn into a wave to take him right through to the beach. This guy really is a master of the surf. When any sort of a chop or any sort of a wave, you saw him just go straight past Craig Shelton like he was standing still, and he's turned that little chop into a wave. He's right next to the rubber ducky, and he'll take this wave right through to the beach. So Trevor Hendy, I thought he might have waited a little time to before he really had a go, and he's got a lead here. He's got to go into the beach, turn around the Uncle Toby's banner on the beach, and then go out and do the right-hand side of the course. So this is a bit of a surprise. Trevor Hendy has not been noted for going out hard early in these events, but he's showing his hand right here, and Hendy is trying to make a break. He is the Australian and world board paddling champion, so if ever he's going to make a break, this is the leg that he will do it in. But Eddie, I really thought that he may have waited till the second board leg in the second half of this race before he showed his hand.
It looked like he was hanging onto the rubber ducky the way he went past Craig Shelton there. It was almost in about 2 seconds. Johnny Holt said he could make a 1 metre break go to about 10 metres. Well, he certainly did that. So Trevor Hendy, as I said, I spoke to him earlier today, he was feeling very good about everything. But let's have a listen to what Trevor said just before he went out about his tactics on this board leg.
I don't know, board first is probably a relief for me. When I first said it, I thought, oh, well, they're changing before I planned it to swim. And then board first, when I think about it, is good, you know, because for a 2-hour race, to be up there right from the start, you don't stress out as much. You can hang with the leaders and work your packs and that sort of stuff. If you have to come from behind, you get this stress of, I'm in 12th, what am I doing here? Will I catch up in the board leg, you know? So, as far as the mob's concerned, I can always sort of avoid the mob with board run first, and hopefully I can this weekend.
Well, Trevor Hendy certainly out in front at the moment. Wayne Pearce is on the beach. Wayne, any dramas as the boys came around the beach leg there? Well, there's one drama there. He's been falling in the water himself, Wayne, so we'll talk to him a little bit later. But what would be going through Guy Leech's mind at the moment? He must look up and see Trevor Hendy way out in front. He knows that not only does he have to win the race, but Hendy has to finish less than 6th place overall. He must be starting to worry a bit already. Yeah, well, I'm not sure, Ed, if you'd be too concerned. He's running in about 10th position at the moment. In fact, he's just coming to that wave area now. You can see him really sprinting through the break. Just coming up that wave now on the white board. That was Guy Leech, so he's in about 9th position, but he is only about maybe 50 to 75 metres off the lead, and they've just got to go around the right-hand side of the course and head back to the beach. If Leech is within 30 seconds of Hendy at the end of Hendy's best leg, going into the run, which is one of Leech's best legs, then I think he'd be quite comfortable, because the longer we saw in New Zealand, the longer this race goes on, the better it is for Guy Leech, and the worse it is for Trevor Hendy. So I always knew that in this race he would be coming from behind, and at this stage, there'll be no panic stations at all from Guy Leech. Okay, well, Trevor Hendy out in front. We'll see how he fares on the way back when we come back after this break.
Or pesticides.
Is out in front, has taken the lead in this run section. He leads from Guy Andrews. Trevor Hendy just tucked in behind Guy there in 3rd position. Oh, it's a fantastic race. They're just coming past the driving range on their right-hand side as they head up towards the village square, and it's been a case of real tactics here. Thompson and Andrews caught Hendy in the ad break very, very quickly, but then Thompson surged. They came back to him. Andrews tried to shake Hendy, but Hendy is staying in there, and the gap opened up to about 20 or 30 metres, but now it looks like certainly that Thompson is being reeled back in, and Andrews and Hendy are pulling right up beside him now as they come past those beautiful Regency villas, heading up towards the village centre. They're just about at the halfway mark. They'll turn here and head back down at any second. In fact, they'll turn right here at the village square, and as you can see the gap, it's probably only 10 metres now back to Guy Andrews. They're desperately trying to shake Trevor Hendy, but I guess
if they don't shake him, Andrews told me beforehand what he would like to do here is, he said he's not concerned if he doesn't shake Hendy, but he wants to work him so hard that he's got nothing left for the water legs at the end of the day.
Beautiful shot there of the village centre with a number of restaurants and shops there. The runners now, Trevor Hendy and the boys, just running past Fraser's night spot, which Mick Porra, you're a special comments man down there as well, I believe. You had a bit of a look there.
Speak for yourself, Eddie.
And now the boys heading back on the return leg. They have to run round and will finish coming up the 18th hole. So let's have a look through now. But as we've got a new face in front with Scott Thompson, so too do we have a new face, or an old face, but coming back with new faces tonight on Channel 10 at 6:30 tonight. Bert Newton's New Faces returns to television. At 7:30, The Simpsons in the new time slot, back on the Sunday night with the new series. And then at 8 o'clock, making the premiere appearance tonight, Late for School, which is a tremendous situation comedy, which has been being produced over the last couple of months, and have seen a couple of the shows already, and excellent shows. Of course, Matthew Newton, so it's a big night for the Newton family. Bert on at 6:30, and his young son Matthew Newton, one of the stars of Late for School. Also in Ross Higgins and Frankie J. Holden. So tonight, a great lineup of television on Channel 10. Bert Newton's New Faces at 6:30, The Simpsons, the new series at 7:30, and Late for School at 8.
Okay, let's just have a look at a race update as we see Scott Thompson in the lead, then Guy Andrews, Trevor Hendy, and that's about the gap. In fact, it's probably less than that now. Leachy's moved right up into 4th position now, only 18 seconds behind Sean Kenny, then Hayden Reese in 6th place. Dwayne Thies has dropped back to 7th from 2nd, and Brent Payne, who's almost a minute behind, in 8th place. And have a look at Scotty Thompson here, the 27-year-old plumber from North Bondi Surf Club. He's now, of course, a full-time professional athlete, and if that is not a magnificent physique, Eddie, I don't know what is. This guy is a really well-balanced runner. He really does look tremendous, striding out, coming past now through the golf villas. Fairly soon they'll turn left and go straight down the 18th and head their way back down to the beach. But Thompson has been unable to shake them. He's about 5-6 metres perhaps ahead of Guy Andrews, supporting the red leaders jersey, also wearing his bollets, and Trevor Hendy is stuck right in behind them, and he won't let these guys go. But where they're running right now, it is extremely hot. 28, 30 degrees at least. That's what it was on the beach, let alone where they are now. It's protected from the wind. It's very humid, very hot, and the guys are sweating profusely. They've got to try and get through this and get back down into the water. It is really an unknown factor as to how much this is going to take out of them later on. But it looks like at any second now that Guy Andrews will pull Trevor Hendy right up to Scott Thompson, and the three of these guys will be locked together going into the next leg, which is the swim. And of course, I couldn't separate these three guys in the swim, and there's some fantastic shots from the chopper. The three of them now together, we have a three-way share of the lead.
Now, Trevor Hendy, this is ideal for him. He didn't really want to be the front runner at all, except he's got that little bit of a wave on the board. He's really, it's tailor-made for him so far. He's got two good runners out in front of him to hang on to. He can get on behind them in the swim as well. It's just perfect for him at the moment.
Yes, it is. And just on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see up there towards the top now, just heading down towards that turn, that is Guy Leech. Guy Leech in 4th position. Now, that's the one that Hendy should really worry about. He should have a look over his shoulder and think, Leech is bearing down on me, because when they start this next swim, Leech is going to haul them back, you can bet your life. And so these three guys locked together as they head down the 18th fairway. But Leech is right in this. Yep, and Guy Andrews there you can see in 2nd place. We talked to him a little bit earlier on today about his tactics.
I think it'll be one in the run leg if we can gap the field enough there and just hang on. I did that last year, but I sort of had the tail end of a virus from the race before, and I was just too weak and couldn't push through the surf. But there's not a lot of surf on today, and if I can get the gap in the run leg, it should be fine for the rest of the race, hopefully.
And there it is. There's Guy Leech just coming past that Daihatsu Feroza sign. So Leech is really hauling these guys in. We have a look at the split times. Leech is not far behind. We can see that it's Murray Cox is now a minute 13 behind in 9th place. So Murray Cox also moving through the field, as is Rick Pallister, then Barry Newman, Miles Blackwell, Jay Gilbert. Craig Riddington has dropped back to 14th, and Craig Shelton has also dropped back. But there's only a minute 40 separating those top 16 competitors. As you can see, Guy Andrews, have a look behind him, because he knows Leech, you can see just coming into your screen, has really put on the pressure, and he's now catching these guys. And this is going to be a very, very close race, because Scott Thompson, Guy Andrews and Trevor Hendy, all very strong swimmers, as is Guy Leech moving through now. But Eddie, the longer this race goes on, I tell you what, Leech is just going to get stronger and stronger, and he would be very happy with his position right now.
Yes, Leech is coming up past the green there at the 18th. There's a turnaround at the clubhouse, and then the runners move down a little bit downhill for a little while. We just see them coming through there past the clubhouse. Magnificent clubhouse here at the Hyatt Regency Coolum. And, you know, it's a little bit of an easier run here. The wind gets behind them a little bit, and there's a bit of a downhill. But what would Trevor Hendy be thinking at the moment? He's probably seen at the moment that Leech is not far behind.
Okay, and you can see as they head through the Schweppes drink station, they all really need to take some drinks. You can see that Scotty's decided to pour one on his head, and he's also decided to drink one. Now, most of the guys at this stage take water. Most of those cups are full of Evian, natural mineral water. That's what they like to drink. Some of the guys, in fact, Eddie, though, also drink Solo because of the sugar content.
Okay, Mick, well, we'll be back in a few moments' time after the break to see if Trevor Hendy can step in there and see how we go as the other competitors run up the 18th. Welcome back, in a magnificent view there of Mount Coolum in the background. Of course, the Hyatt Regency Coolum, the golf course there in the foreground, and those three little ants down the front there are 3 leaders at the moment. Trevor Hendy has just dropped off the pace a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, well, the 2 guys in front, you can see that's Guy Andrews in the red leaders jersey. He was leading on overall points coming into this race. He has tried to surge there. You can see that it's very, very hot. Andrews deciding to wear his bolos in this race, and the 2 of them and Scott Thompson, surged there, almost dropped Hendy. Hendy dropped back about 10 or 15 metres, but he's pulled right up again. And the reason for that, Eddie, is that any moment now the run will finish, and what will happen is that they'll go into the swim, and what Hendy wants to be able to do is tuck in on the feet of these guys in the next swim leg and get dragged along. He does not want to lose these guys. They tried to shake him. It didn't work. Hendy looking behind for Leech, because on split times, he's not far behind. We might just have a look at those. It's Scott Thompson, Guy Andrews and Trevor Hendy. Really, they're locked together. Leech now only 15 seconds behind. Sean Kenny is about a minute behind, and Murray Cox has gone from 2 minutes behind and in 20th place up to 6th. Remrick Pallister has also moved through dramatically. Hayden Reese in 8th. In 9th position now is Andy Meikle from North Bondi Surf Club. Then Barry Newman, Brent Payne, Dwayne Thies, who was 2nd starting into the run, has moved. Then Jonathan Crow back in 13th. Miles Blackwell, Spotty Anderson also moving well nicely in 15th. And running through there now, Wayne Pearce. You might be able to pick them up for us.
Yeah, Guy Andrews just went through. There's a fair break in the field now before we get the next competitor, who looks like Guy Leech, just coming around the corner now. He's looks fairly fatigued at this stage, actually, but as you said earlier, the further the race goes, the better he goes. There's a fair break in the field at the moment. We're still yet to see the next competitor coming around the corner, but those 4 guys established an enormous break at this stage, and as you said, going back into for the water legs, they'll have a huge advantage going out through this chop.
Okay, well, there's Scotty Thompson in the lead. There's Guy Leech coming through. He's in 4th position, but Scotty Thompson is in the lead, and earlier today we spoke to him about his tactics. There he is, Scotty Thompson.
In my swim and my ski, I've improved immensely this year, so I'm not worried at all going into those legs for the rest of the race. I'm looking forward to actually coming off the run and hitting the swim. I know if there is anyone still in front, they'll be tired from the run, whereas I'm a natural runner, it won't be as hurting as much.
Okay, and it's Scott Thompson now. He really is a wonderful endurance athlete, this guy. In fact, he doesn't know yet, Eddie, but tonight at the final awards dinner, Thompson will, regardless of his place here today, will be awarded a great prize of the most improved athlete in the Uncle Toby Super Series because of his performances. In Portsea 2 weeks ago, he finished his best ever place, and that was 2nd position, and he's never finished that highly before. He's been in the sport now for 10 years, and each year at 27 years of age, he's improving every year, and he's a wonderful endurance athlete. He just loves it. The longer it is, the hotter it is, the harder it is, the better for Scotty Thompson. He's not afraid to lead, and you can see he's the one heading out towards that wave area now, and Trevor Hendy, the #1 seed, is tucked right in on his feet, and Guy Andrews in 3rd position is right in on him. We then have in 4th Guy Leech, who's just hit the water now, and there's nothing much separating these 4 guys, and I'd be surprised if I didn't see Leech move up and join this leading pack before too long.
Yes, the boys going through there, as you mentioned, Trevor Hendy just sitting on their feet. It's just perfect positioning for him at the moment. He hasn't had to really worry about setting the pace. He can just tuck in there and just trail along beautifully behind them.
Yep, and we can see there that's Sean Kenny and Hayden Reese coming down through the through the archway there. That's Andy Mickle also coming through. Barry Newman, that was number 6, who'd moved up as well. So these guys just coming down, and Spot Anderson had a marvellous run. He's up into about 10th place, so Spotty Anderson, who was nearly last, about 27th or 28th at the end of the board, has moved right up into about the top 10 or 11 places. So here's Guy Leech now, so you can see that distance. In swimming distance now, Leech is probably only about 20 or 30 metres off the lead. And Johnny Holt, as they head out towards you, I wouldn't be surprised to see Leech wear them down and pick this pack up before too long.
Well, I agree with you, Michael. The relentless pressure that Leech can apply if he wants to should come into the next couple of legs. We had the benefit, Michael, of watching that run leg on the monitor on this fantastic SeaWorld research boat, and that was an exciting run leg. Leech really must have moved in that last couple of kilometres to pull himself up to these leaders, but they'd be feeling the pinch now as they get horizontal after being vertical in the heat at the back of Hyatt Coolum, and they'd be feeling a little the worse for wear as they come up to this turning buoy. They're about 200 metres off the turning buoy at the first halfway mark in the swim.
Okay, well, Wayne Pearce is on the beach. What's going on down there, Wayne? Any news on any of the competitors?
Well, Murray Cox, actually, just commenting on the way the guys finished the run. He came in 5th spot, well behind that leading bunch of 4. In fact, he made up 10 placings in that run leg. He left in 15th spot, come back in 5th. Then there was a huge break in the field to the next few competitors. But the interesting thing is that Craig Whittington is currently placed in 14th position, so he struggled in that run leg as well, and he's well off the pace at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, Wayne, for our viewers, Rideau has been sick for the last 2.5 weeks. Even at Portsea, he was crook, hadn't trained for a few days before, has not trained once since that Portsea race 2 weeks ago, and he really is feeling the pinch. I thought that there he is. We can see Rideau now as he heads down into the water. This is the part that he loves, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him move through, Wayne, but geez, a long way behind now. Yeah, he's way off the pace. He's a good 2.5 minutes behind that leading pack, so there's no way in the world he'll be able to make up that in this swim leg. Okay, as they head out towards that white turning buoy, and the guy in the middle of your screen there with that yellow hat with the 2 red stripes, that's Guy Leech, and he is really flying. They're heading out towards that white turning buoy, and let's just show that to you diagrammatically. You can see that the number 1 buoy, they've got to go straight out to sea, turn around the white buoy, back into the beach, around the Uncle Toby's banner, straight back out, around buoy number 2 and in. It is a 1.2 kilometre swim, and Scott Thompson has stopped there for a second for some reason. I think he's decided. In fact, Scott Thompson has said to Trevor Hendy, "What are you doing? I'm going to get tucked in behind you." He's waving at somebody. It looks like there's something happened to Scotty Thompson. He's yelling out to somebody. I don't quite know what he's doing. Let's hope he hasn't been stung by a blue bottle or something, but that's very, very unusual for Thompson just to stop. He's let those leaders go. He's going to have to sprint now to catch back up to the pack. And Johnny Holt, have you got any? Thompson is stopping and waving.
He seemed to be calling for some sort of assistance. I'm not sure. He stopped about 3 or 4 times in the last 50 metres. There's something wrong, but I don't think he's going to give up, Michael. He's not the sort of person that'll give up without a fight, and it'd have to be something drastically wrong for him to give up. But they're round the buoy now, and it's Guy Andrews who's been able to take the lead from Trevor Hendy. Scott Thompson 5 metres third, and Leech in about 15 metres to 4th place. Leech stopped a couple of times on the way out too, so there might have been some confusion as to whether they were to turn the red or the white buoy, but it was definitely the white buoy. Oh, I see what's wrong with Scott Thompson now. He's having trouble with his goggles, Michael. That's they must be coming loose and filling up with water all the time, and he's stopping to adjust them. So that's the problem with Scott Thompson.
So he's not waving.
No, he's not drowning, not waving. He's certainly just got a minor equipment problem, and he's still well placed in 3rd place.
Okay, I thought he was actually lifting his arm up, waving at the rubber ducky because there was some problem. So obviously that's a bit of a shame because he's dropped off that pace a little bit. Yep. He was the early leader. He wouldn't want to lose the feet because, Johnny, you might just explain, there is an advantage of being tucked in and back behind people's feet.
There certainly is. The water behind a swimmer moves a little bit. It's a little bit easier to swim through. You don't have to break the chop in front of you. And often we see swimmers almost in single file behind each other. We've got an update of other positions, and Rick Pallister must have had a sensational run. Whether Wayne Pearce could get his in and out positions in that run later on, we might like to hear that. But he's now in 6th place. A great run by Rick Pallister, straight behind Sean Kenny. And looks like Murray Cox in 7th. So the track runners, Murray Cox and Rick Pallister, certainly gained the advantage from that 5-kilometre run through the Hyatt Coolum.
Okay, and you can heading back towards the beach now. Thompson still stopping and adjusting those goggles. This is a real shame. He's having a very definite equipment problem there. But Guy Andrews now heading in towards the beach. A bit of confusion with some of the other competitors heading out. They're swimming right through the middle of them. Guy Andrews now, you can see him heading straight back into towards the beach. I'm a bit surprised that Andrews has taken them down towards the north. He perhaps should have come straight into, he's off the turning flag, that's for sure, because he should be further over towards the right-hand side of your screen. That's why they're running right through the middle of the other competitors going out to sea. But we can see Andrews tucked right in behind him is the series leader, Trevor Hendy, and he only has to finish in the top 6 positions overall to be able to win. As Andrews pulls a little wave there, just got to run on the top, but these waves really will make a difference. Andrews and Thompson and Hendy will all be looking for a wave. This could be the break that Andrews is looking for. If he can pull a little wave here, it might just give him enough to be able to kick away and not have Hendy sitting in on his feet. Doing a bit of backstroke now, looking for a wave. Hendy now sprinting, trying to get back onto his feet. Waves here really will make all the difference. It's only a small surf, but Leech now on the right-hand side of your screen has really pulled them back. So Leech, you can see him just on the right-hand side of your screen. He's in 4th position, but he's right up there with him. There he is in the top right-hand corner of your screen, right behind. Andrews now pulled a little wave, and Hendy's going to get the one behind. So Andrews is going to try and hold this one right through. That wave is going to die out there, and Hendy's going to come through on the next one, so he's pulled that right through and pulled almost alongside. So the two of these guys almost locked together, and they've opened up a little bit of a lead now over Scott Thompson and Guy Leech, and those two competitors will also be looking for a wave as they head in towards the beach. And Wayne Pearce, we can see that Leech is really starting to pull them back, and the longer this race goes on, I reckon the more it favours Leechy.
Yeah, we say that every race, how good he is the longer distances, and how the longer the race goes, the better he gets. And it really is a case of him being ideally suited to the longer races. The other guys, in fact, you've got Guy Andrews, who's more of an explosive athlete. He's really pumping himself. But Scotty Thompson in trouble with those goggles. In fact, his handler is looking for a spare set of goggles at the moment, so we may see him change them. But before, you mentioned about Rick Pallister moving through the field, and I checked the placings on the run leg. He came in 7th on that run leg, which was a gain of about 8 placings in the run leg as well. As we see Guy Andrews come up around and into the water, Trevor Hendy hot on his heels. Both those guys look really comfortable at the moment. And Scotty Thompson, here he comes up the beach now. We'll just see if he wants to get the spare pair of goggles or not. As his handler, he runs past his handler, says, no, my goggles are okay. So obviously he's rectified the problem. Maybe they were a bit loose, but he's okay at the moment. So those three well out in front, and if Leechy can get he's struggling to get through the wave area at the moment, but if he can get a wave in, then he's still well in contention. But undoubtedly, here he is at the moment coming up the beach. But undoubtedly the winner of this race is going to come from those 4 competitors.
Well, Wayne, those two guys look like they're in a lot of pain as they came around, and they're wiping their faces and their backs. I wouldn't be surprised if both Thompson and Leech have been stung by some blue bottles. Perhaps you can find out what's going on down there, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me to see that they're being stung by blue bottles.
Well, I've just been nodded to by their handlers. Actually, they said they have suffered from blue bottle stings. In fact, they were worried about that yesterday. There were enormous numbers of blue bottles out there in the water yesterday as Sean Kenny comes around now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if almost half this field is stung by blue bottles, if the same numbers of blue bottles are still out there as there were yesterday, as Rick Pallister comes sprinting around now.
Yep. Okay, well, that's all you need, as well as an 8-kilometre Ironman, is to be stung by blue bottles along the way. The top 5 at the moment: Guy Andrews, Trevor Hendy, Scott Thompson, Guy Leech and Sean Kenny. Let's see how they go when we come back after this break. Welcome back to the Uncle Toby Super Series. Our leaders at the moment: Guy Andrews, Trevor Hendy, Scott Thompson, Guy Leech, Sean Kenny and Rick Pallister, the top 6. A lot of drama in this swim leg so far, with what we believe is a couple of our competitors, in particular Scott Thompson and Guy Leech, being stung by blue bottles. But one man who looks like he's out of business for the rest of the day is Brent Payne, and he's down with Wayne Pearce on the beach. Wayne, what's going on with some of the competitors?
Yeah, well, the blue bottle problem isn't the problem that's just forced Brent Payne out of the race. Brent is just pretty tough out there, and you feel a bit weak.
Oh, mate, it was just really, the conditions were just too tough. I just wasn't fit enough to cope with the run, the heat in the run, and then just the choppy water. It just wasn't up to race fitness.
What's the toughest part of these swim legs? Is it actually going out through the swell or going up against the wind?
Oh, I think it's mainly the changeovers. It's just going from the run to the swim, and then you've got to get up and run again. It's just taxing. It's so taxing because you go from upper body to lower body. It just takes so much out of you.
Blue bottles weren't a problem with you, though, out there, although they affect a lot of the competitors.
No, I didn't come across any, but some of the guys were saying they were out there during the warm-up. So, I don't know, I wouldn't like to be stung by one, that's for sure.
Well, bad luck, and hope you recover quickly.
Devastating.
And back to you, Eddie, for all the action.
Okay, Junior, yes, well, that's good news, at least that the Blue Bottles had an attack there. Johnny Holt's out on the boat. John, what's going on out there at the moment? Any news you can fill us in on?
Well, I can only update some of those positions. We had that unchanged in that first leaded pack. Guy Andrews was first to lead around the cans. Second was Trevor Hendy. Leech looked quite comfortable in fourth place, so he's still in a position and he's not that far off the pace. Rick Pallister's opened up his lead from Murray Cox and the rest of the positions. One thing I can report, though, was that Craig Riddington has started to make a bit of a move in the swim, but he's still a long way behind. It's still probably 2.5 minutes behind the lead couple.
Okay, but John, I'm a little surprised. It looks to me like Leachy, certainly our pictures, that Leachy has fallen behind in the last leg, and I've seen him stick his head up a couple of times. It looks like he's in pain. I think he's been definitely stung across the face by Blue Bottles. There's no doubt in my mind that Scott Thompson was stung across the face as well. That's why he was wiping his face. It wasn't because of his goggles, it was because of the Blue Bottle stings, and gee, that's a tough thing to have to go through. For those of you at home who haven't been stung by a Blue Bottle before, let me tell you, it is excruciating pain. And also they inject a bit of poison into your system too, don't they, John? And nothing worse than when you're already, pulses up around 180 or 190, and the body's desperately craving oxygen, and you get some poison started to go through the system, and that could end up a little bit dangerous for some of these guys.
For sure. And what Scott was probably doing was, as you said, just pulling the tentacle from his face, and it looked to me like he was adjusting his goggles, but in fact he was probably pulling the tentacle from his shoulder and flicking it away when he was raising his hand. Yep, so that's the problem that we've called, and it's certainly a painful experience. It's happened to me a few times when I've raced, and I wouldn't wish it upon any of these guys, and I trust the rest of them get through without being stung.
Okay, we're just coming to the closing sections of this swim now. We saw a great wave from Trevor Hendy and Guy Andrews, so the two of them have been able to pull a little wave again, and Trevor Hendy has once again come from behind Guy Andrews on a wave. He really is a master in the surf. He's picked up a little wave, and they're now in that channel area, and they'll hit this beach now. They've got a short run, and then they go into the ski leg. Now, this could be where Trevor Hendy tries to pull a gap here on Guy Andrews, because the ski, in fact, is Andrews' weakest leg if he's got one. He's very strong in the swim, the board, and the run. And that little wave is broken right where Guy Andrews is, and he's taken it right through. So he's got a small lead here as they stand. The big frame of Trevor Hendy as he tries to lift his legs out of the water. It's going to be a big question mark as to how much that run leg is taken out of Trevor. But Wayne Pearce, as Guy Andrews comes up, you might want to call us through these places, but certainly Hendy looks like he's in very, very good shape.
Yeah, he does. Guy Andrews obviously first out of the water. Trevor Hendy also out in second, out just behind him. He's about 10 metres back. Guy Leech still working his way into the up the sand, but as Guy Andrews comes, Guy Andrews actually has broken through from about 20 metres in front of Trevor Hendy as he goes back around now onto the ski. He looks quite comfortable. Scotty Thompson obviously was distressed there for some time with that Blue Bottle sting, but he's back into a balanced running format. He's looking pretty good. And Leachy, well, he's getting better and better. Rick Pallister actually has gone very, very well in the swim, and Sean Kenny looks like he's made up a bit of ground as well as he comes swimming into the beach.
Okay, and as they hit their skis now and head out towards those turning buoys, the ski leg 3.6 kilometres. If you've just joined us, we've had a 2.4 kilometre board, we've had a 5 kilometre run, we've had a 1.2 kilometre swim as we see Guy Leech coming out in fourth position, and we're just beginning the 3.6 kilometre ski. We're approaching the halfway mark of this race now. Competitors have been going for just on 52 minutes. We see Sean Kenny come out in fifth position, and he really has made up some distance. We might just have a look at the course map now in this ski leg. Again, it's a butterfly course. Obviously, it's longer than the swim. It's 3.6 kilometres all up. They do the left-hand side of the course, boys 1 to 4, back into the beach around a flag, and then back out boys 5 to 8. Then they're on to the second half of the course, which is a board, a swim, and a ski. And you can see there now in that red leader's jersey, that's Guy Andrews, and Trevor Hendy now pulled up right alongside him, and these two have opened up a very, very handy break. And Johnny Holt, this is a very, very good position for Trevor Hendy to be in, but considering if Leech is okay, this is Leech's strongest leg to ski, and he should be able to improve his position.
Well, we would expect that Guy Leech will improve his position in this race, but I threw away my Ironman tipping licence at Portsea by tipping against Trevor Hendy. I swore that I would never tip against Trevor Hendy if he came to the line with a broken leg. So I would still say he'd have to be the favourite. He's certainly well placed, and the one man he can count on to keep the pressure on for the whole afternoon is Guy Andrews, and Guy Andrews is up in front there, so Trevor would be very happy with where he is.
Okay, yes, and as we see Guy Andrews on that left-hand side of your screen, who's very determined for this race, and he is very much a front runner, and this morning we asked him about his thoughts on being in front.
Well, it's pretty scary when you're out in front like that. You've got to pace yourself so that the pack can't catch back up to you, and you can still have enough left to make the finish line there. So, yeah, it's, you know, and there's other aspects too. If it's choppy, you're trying to sight the cans and find out which way to go. And it's like you have little nightmares, you know, finish the race, but you've missed the can and you've been disqualified, and it's sort of things like that that go through your mind. It's more than just getting out there and getting into it. You know, you've got to think while you're out there.
Well, he's got the wind behind him now as he heads up north. It's a sou'easter blowing, so it's behind him, and he really looks very, very determined, as Guy Andrews. In 1988, he won the Australian Junior Ironman Championship. He also won the New South Wales Junior Ironman Championship. Over the last year or two, he's moved gradually through the series point score. He finished second overall in the series last year, and he won one of the big races down in Glenelg. And you can see that gap now back for third position. And Scott Thompson is really a long way back now. He's some 100 to 150 metres behind. And it's just amazing the difference it can make when you come through that wave area, Eddie, and don't pick up a wave, because Scott Thompson was right on their feet and he didn't get a wave. And now look at the lead that it's opened up in the ski. Guy Leech about another further 50 metres behind him in fourth place, but Leech and Thompson are really going to have to work now to catch these two leaders.
Okay, well, Trevor Hendy was saying this morning that even though his finger is starting to come good, he broke it just before the Portsea Ironman 2 weeks ago. He broke the top of it and also dislocated the top joint, so it was a very severe finger injury. That this is the one leg, the ski, that gives him excruciating pain still. The rest, he says he can handle without any worries, but certainly at the moment in second place, he doesn't look too bad.
No, he doesn't, and we just have a look at those places after the swim leg. We might get an indication of how they've moved now in the ski, and it was Andrews and Hendy really locked together. Thompson had dropped back, so he was 26 seconds behind going into that ski, and that lead basically happened during that wave area. Leech was 50 seconds behind, so Leech actually dropped distance. He went in 15 seconds behind into the swim and dropped back to 50, so there's no doubt in my mind that Leech was suffering from that blue bottle sting, because he really seems to have dropped right off the pace. Well, the first part of that swim, he really attacked, and then he dropped right back. Well,
this is, of course, where we expected Leechy to start to make a bit of headway. And,
well, we do, and you can just see him there. You can see him in the background there on the right-hand side of your screen, just going out of the screen. He's certainly not out of it. He's less than a minute behind, and given that there's a long way to go, we haven't even reached the halfway mark in this, then I guess you could say that the race is far from over in terms of Guy Leech. But Craig Riddington, well, he's in lots of trouble. He's 3 minutes 30 seconds behind at the moment. Dwayne Thies, 3 minutes 22 seconds behind. And those guys, I think, well, their race is well and truly over in terms of their chances of winning, but certainly big prize money on offer overall for the series. In fact, $200,000 in the bonus pool will be split up at the end of this race. So desperation stuff for all these guys. A good place today could see them move up the ladder from, say, 10th to 8th or whatever. And we're talking thousands of dollars difference overall in the bonus pool. Guy Andrews now. Great shots there from the rubber duckies. We see Guy Andrews now, Johnny Holt, and he surprised down at Glenelg last year. He really won that race on his ski leg, and he certainly is not faltering here at all.
He's not at all, Michael. He's competent in all disciplines and knows he can do a good job on each of them. For your information, Guy Leech is 56 seconds behind the leaders at this point in time. Scott Thompson's about 35. So we might be able to get an update as they go around the boys, whether Leech is going backwards or going forwards, and see whether he can make a move.
Well, I guess what's also important is, Holly, is that as we see Guy Leech now, I think this is Guy just coming around that, now it's Sean Kenny just coming around the turning buoy in fifth position, Rick Pallister in sixth, and Sean, a former Australian Junior Ironman champion. He's a very good swimmer, a former Australian representative in swimming, and made big moves in the swim. But this man, Guy Andrews, well, if he can win this race overall and beat Guy Leech by more than 2 places, Johnny, he'll move into second place again overall in the series.
Yeah, I think that's what he'd be thinking. He'd be keeping a good look on where Leech is, but I wouldn't be writing Guy Leech off with another hour to go, Michael. Guy Leech is going to get faster over the next hour, and these other guys will start to feel slow. Here's Rick Pallister. I don't know whether he's up on the screen at this point in time, but we've got a good shot of Rick coming round the buoy before, and he's in about 6th place, so that's a great performance by Rick Pallister.
Well, John, John, what would you do if you were Leechy now? You can see the two guys up ahead of him. He's got Hendy, who's the overall leader, and of course he's got Guy Andrews, who's on screen at the moment, who's pressing for his second place. Would he sit back now and try and get over those blue bottle stings that we think he's had, or will he just start to make a bit of a headway through now?
Well, I think that the most important thing that he doesn't panic. He is athletically gifted. He can go faster over the next hour than he has for the first hour. If he doesn't panic and he just keeps applying the pressure, then he'll be there in the end. That's the sort of athlete that he is. I'm sure that he would be concerned that he'd be feeling that he didn't have the swim that he should have, but he's got a few legs to go in the afternoon, and if he doesn't panic, he can certainly get up there.
Oh, we're just seeing great shots of Guy Andrews. He really had to lean back and get that nose up because he took a great little wave from right out the back, and he was going to try and hold this wave right through to the beach. And he has to run up and around the turning flag and back out, and Trevor Hendy right in behind him. But gee, I tell you what, Guy Andrews looks sensational. This is supposed to be his worst leg, but he looks fantastic on the ski. He's really flying, moving very, very hard. Now Andrews has come a little bit too far north, so he's got to drop his ski here, run up around this Uncle Toby's flag, the banner here. So he's got a bit of running to do. His handler will turn his ski around and perhaps drag that ski up as quickly as he can. That's Colin Andrews, his father, so there's a bit of a job here for his father to do. And you can see that where Trevor Hendy came through was right on the mark, and so Hendy was able to pick up a little bit of distance there. And now the two of them will run straight back down, grab their ski, back out for the second half of the course. And Hendy has been able to make up that distance there, and he really is, when it comes down to the skills, Eddie, he just doesn't make a mistake, and he really has it all together in terms of the skills, through the surf, into the beach, out through the waves.
He's an amazing tactician, and this is obviously the hardest part on the skis. Mick, tell us how you set yourself up here to get through out to the back of the water there.
Well, actually the skis have a rudder system, and you can see Guy Andrews heading to the right now because he's trying, and as is Hendy, because they're trying to get around those waves that are coming across. So what they do is push down on the foot pedal to the right, which is what Andrews is doing right now, and then try and lean back and bounce over those waves as Scotty Thompson. Now Scotty looks like he's recovered here, Eddie, because he's really moving very, very fast, and Guy Leech has also made a move. So it looks like Leechy has possibly recovered. We'll get the split times in a second, but Leechy is really starting to motor on this ski leg, and as John Holt said a moment ago, he's waving his arms. There's no doubt he's been stung, but he's trying to put that out of his mind. And Leech is looking out to sea now. You can see he's really surveying that area. He's about 100 metres behind, and he's on his way straight back out to sea, and he's going to try and haul these guys in. After 1 hour, that's about the mark. Let's have a look at exactly where they are. Okay, this was the start, the first board leg. If you've just joined us, this was the beginning of the race where Big Craig Shelton from Service Paradise led, and Trevor Hendy ducked right in on him, but it wasn't long before the world board paddling champion shot past him on a wave. Magnificent piece of surfing this from Trevor Hendy. Went past Shelton, the former Australian champion, on the board like he was standing still, right through to the beach. From this moment on, Hendy led the rest of this board leg around the turning buoy. Shelton was back in second with Brent Payne. Guy Andrews, you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, pulled a little wave, and that pushed him through. They hit the beach and then took off into the Hyatt Regency at Coolum here for the 5-kilometre run, and Scott Thompson joined them pretty quickly in second, third position. Leech was back in about 7th, but made his presence felt. Now Thompson hit the lead in the run and was able to open up a bit of a lead. They pulled him back though. Once they'd gone into the swim, the three of them were together, and from there, from right and true until now, it's been Hendy and Andrews locked together, and that's exactly where they are right now. But gee, it looks like Andrews, Johnny Holt, has opened up a substantial gap on the way out to this turning buoy.
Mate, he's such a terrier. What a bulldog of an athlete Guy Andrews is. He's just relentless in the pressures that he's been applying, and I said it before, if Trevor can count on anyone to keep applying the pressure, then it's Guy Andrews. He's about 15 metres off the turning buoy now, and he's opened up about a 50-metre lead to Trevor Hendy, so that's great. He must have done well through that break, and he looks fantastic. He looked over his shoulder to see where Hendy was. He looks great. He's having the race of his life here today, Michael.
And he loves being in front, John. He looked behind over his shoulder at Trevor Hendy, and I'm sure he would have said to himself, I've got this guy now, and I'm really going to go.
Well, he knows that he's the sort of athlete that can go hard for a couple of hours. When Trevor's a stop-start athlete, I'm not going to take anything off Trevor Hendy as far as being able to do anything in the surf, but Trevor would rather have a little break, a wave, a pause between events, and Guy Andrews can go continuously for the hour or 2 hours. So that's what's happening right now at the moment, and that lead, 50 metres. Still a fair way back to Leech and Scott Thompson. I'll try and get the splits if I can, Michael, like I did last time, and just keep you posted as to how they're progressing.
Okay, Johnny, well, we look forward to that. Guy Andrews in front at the moment from Trevor Hendy. We'll see how they go and what those split times are when we come back after the break. Welcome back to Coolum for the Uncle Toby Super Series. The final race in this series. Out in front as we're coming towards the concluding stages of the ski leg is Guy Andrews. He has opened up a handy break over Trevor Hendy. So out in front at the moment we have the man who is the overall points leader in Guy Andrews, but Trevor Hendy who leads in the amended margins, and of course that's the one that counts.
Yes, and Andrews now heading back towards the beach now, the finish of this ski leg, and it's more than halfway in this race, and it's really been a magnificent ski performance from him, because Trevor Hendy, this is the leg that actually won Hendy this race last year. Andrews hasn't had a win so far this year, and he's really pushing for it. He's got a little wave here now, which he's going to try and take right through to the beach. So it's Andrews in front, Trevor Hendy on the right-hand side of your screen in second, then Scott Thompson, Guy Leech, Sean Kenny, Rick Pallister, Dwayne Thies, and Barry Newman. They're the top 8 places as we come to the concluding stages of this ski leg. Andrews now has to just run this wave through to the beach. Hendy's done a little bit of a nosedive there, and it's actually spun him around to the right. He's got his paddle into the left to try and readjust, and he's been able to straighten these things up. Very hard to maneuver these skis. You've got to try sitting on one. They're like sitting on a log, and actually having to catch a wave with them is very difficult. But Guy Andrews looks magnificent. He's really sprinting, Wayne Pearce, as he comes up towards you around that turning area.
Yeah, as soon as he got out of the knee-deep water, he had a look around, saw that Trevor Hendy was right back, and he's obviously trying to get a psychological advantage as well. He's really sprinting and looking quite good. Trevor Hendy's looking quite comfortable as well, coming up the beach, and he looks quite relaxed, so I think there's still plenty of fight left in Trevor Hendy.
Okay, they come through the Schweppes drink station now, and Trevor Hendy, of course, taking a drink. There's still a long way to go in this race, and Guy Andrews has decided when he went through the Schweppes drink station, he didn't take a drink, and I'm a bit surprised at that, because Wayne, they wouldn't want to give too much away. It's a very hot day, and they've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's very hot and humid out there. It can pay out on you later on. I mean, it can be a problem late in the dying stages of the event, and it was surprising to see him not take a drink. I'm sure 99% of the competitors, or 9 out of 10 of the competitors will, and there's a fair break. They've established an enormous break, actually, Guy Andrews and Trevor Hendy, and we can see Guy Leech out there. He's got on a wave as well, and he's actually, Guy Andrews, Guy Leech has not been stung by a blue bottle. I spoke to Rod Taylor, his coach and handler, who said that he just said he was feeling very, very flat when he re-entered the water for that swim leg. He said at the start of the ski leg, though, he'd recovered somewhat, and he said he's feeling much better, but it wasn't a blue bottle sting. He just went through a very flat period.
Okay, and you can see Leech has actually pulled up now in the ski, so he's moved up right alongside Scott Thompson. So it's equal now for third position as they head into the next leg. And Leech, he does look quite fatigued as he runs through the Schweppes drink station. Thompson still looks quite good, taking a drink. They're going to come around and consume as much water as they can through this. And Guy Leech, the pain written all over his face, Wayne.
Yeah, he looks like he's in some sort of trouble at the moment. I mean, it's difficult to pinpoint what it is. He's had a very, very good preparation going into this event. He felt comfortable going into this event, but it's just one of those things. You never know when a virus is lurking inside you. But he looks in a little bit of trouble at the moment. Although there's a long, as we say, there's a long way to go. And he said he does feel a bit better now than he did at the end of that swim leg.
Okay, as we can see Sean Kenny coming through now in 5th position. Yes, these races do take it out of him. And obviously, he went very, very hard, Wayne, in that run, too, where he picked up a lot of time. So perhaps that was the thing that has taken it out of him. And it may be that as this race goes on, he'll continue to improve.
That run took a lot out of a lot of the competitors. There's a very, very strong breeze blowing on the beach here, but it's the actual course where they ran through the golf course and the resort area is shielded from this breeze. So it was very, very hot, perhaps 3 or 4 or 5 degrees hotter in there. And these humid conditions meant that the competitors were really exhausted at the end of that run leg. And that's the reason why we've had a lot of these guys suffering from flat periods.
All right, well, Guy Leech now 1 minute and 21 seconds behind the leader, Guy Andrews, who we see on screen at the moment. Trevor Hendy's 13 seconds back. Scott Thompson, 1 minute and 19 back in third place. And as I said, Guy Leech a further 2 seconds back. Now, there's a couple of races going on, which are subplots, really, aren't they, Mick, in that Guy Leech is now in fourth place, 3 spots behind Guy Andrews, which means that if it's at the moment, at the current standings, Andrews will finish second overall behind Trevor Hendy. So Leachy really has to get up into third place. He's 2 seconds behind Scott Thompson at the moment to maintain his second place overall.
Well, that's dead right. In fact, as you say, he's in equal position in third at the moment. If he finishes third in this race, he'll dead heat for overall second in the series. And you can see he has moved up into third position now, Guy Leech, and Scott Thompson is tucked in behind him. So if Leech was to finish third and Andrews first, then overall on the series, Leech and Andrews would finish equal second. And there's big prizes we're talking about. In fact, $28,000 in the bonus pool for second and $22,000 for third in the bonus pool. So $6,000 difference overall, as well as the prize money on today's race between second and third, and another $1,500 difference. And you can see Dwayne Thies now going out in sixth position. He's a long way behind Sean Kenny, but he's made an enormous move at the end of the run. He was back in nearly 20th position, and he's moved right up now to seventh. So Dwayne Thies back onto his favourite leg. Back in 1984 and 86, he was the Australian board paddling champion as Barry Newman and Andrew Mickle, 2 locals. Andrew Mickle now back at North Bondi, but formerly from Sunshine Beach up here on the Sunshine Coast. And they're in 8th and 9th position, so Andy Mickle has really improved this year. Andy Mickle doing very, very well, finished 5th down at Portsea, and he's really improved this year, there's no doubt. And as they head out towards the turning buoy, you can see Guy Andrews, Johnny Holt. The momentum has not dropped off one little bit for this young man.
Not a bit. I love watching this young man race, Michael. He's really a man on a mission at the moment. He's put about 20 seconds into Trevor Hendy. Now, for someone to put 20 seconds into Trevor Hendy on a Malibu board, they must be going. And Guy Andrews is doing just that at the moment. I think he's got a little sniff of victory, Michael. I think that's what he's thinking. He's got a sniff of victory, and he hasn't won a race this season. He won a race over this distance in Glenelg last season, and I think this is, he's saying, today's my day. I don't care whether it's Trevor Hendy or Guy Leech or anybody, this is my day, and that's the way he's performing now. Well, I would still think that Trevor Hendy would be working out some way in his own conniving way how I can win this race, so let's not count Trevor off at this stage.
No, you certainly would, but look at the pace on Guy Andrews. He's laying down now, and he really is sprinting. He's opened up about a 15, maybe 20-second lead over Trevor Hendy, and that's all happened on the start of this board leg. Now, you've got to keep in mind, if you think about the credentials of these two guys, and there you can see the gap right at the top of your screen next to the rubber duckies. The rubber ducky, that's Guy Andrews, and the bottom of your screen is Trevor Hendy. Now, Hendy looks to me like he's struggling just a little. Andrews is really flying away with the race at this stage. When you consider that Trevor Hendy is in fact the Australian and world board paddling champion, so he's the best there is in this particular discipline. But of course, John, when you get toward the closing stages, or perhaps into the latter stages, as we see Guy Leech and Scott Thompson come around, when you get towards the latter stages of these long distance events, it really doesn't come down to how good you are in an individual discipline. It really is just how good you are in terms of endurance.
It certainly is, Michael. The factor called the cumulative fatigue, it gets you, it creeps up and gets you from behind like an Indian. You don't know when it's going to get you or when it's going to hit you. They hit the wall, or just the fatigue just eventually gets you. And what's happening is that maybe Trevor might be feeling the pinch and Guy's still feeling okay. That thing that you did happen, you predicted that maybe Guy Andrews would really try to get into third place. He did so before. He made a surge on Scott Thompson and came into third. At the moment, they're working in a bit of a pair, Scott Thompson and Guy Leech. So the two of them might be able to come up to Trevor Hendy if he's not going as fast as he normally does.
Well, and Sean Kenny, too, is moving very, very fast as Guy Andrews is sprinting on these little runs. He's really flying. Sean Kenny now moving up also on Scott Thompson and Guy Leech. But let's just have a look at where they were at the end of that ski leg, and you can see that Andrews was in front, just in front of Trevor Hendy, has now really pulled away. Scott Thompson and Guy Leech were basically locked together. Sean Kenny was about another 20 seconds behind, but he's narrowed that gap. Then Dwayne Thies, Rick Pallister, Miles Blackwell in 8th, then Barry Newman, Andrew Mickle, Hayden Reese. Ritto's moved up into 12th, Spot Anderson doing very well, then Jonathan Crowe in 14th. This now is the halfway mark of this board leg, and Guy Andrews has taken a wave right through, and he's really opened up this lead. He's got his teeth gritted. and he really is going for this. He's grimacing his face, and he knows that he's a big chance now of taking this race. Out the back, Trevor Hendy hasn't even reached his wave area now, so that was a dynamic first board leg. He's really shown his hand here now, and he still looks strong as anything, Wayne Pearce, as he comes around that Uncle Toby's banner.
Yeah, he looks tremendous at the moment, and he's got that look in his eye too, as if to say, well, I'm in front, I'm not going to give it up. And he's increased his lead enormously. He's going from strength to strength. We talk about Guy Leech getting better as the race goes longer, but Guy Andrews is not only a short course specialist, but he's one of these middle course specialists, as we pointed out, and he's built for this sort of race.
Yeah, Wayne, but what's interesting is we see Hendy coming towards the beach, where we say that Leech gets better and better as the race goes on. I really mean there physically he gets better and better. Andrews, he's a real psychological type competitor. If he gets his nose in front, he seems to be able to do much better and go much faster than he would if he was back in the pack, and he really can lift himself enormously. I would call him one of the real winners in competition circles. He just loves winning, and he's got a great knack of being able to ignore pain and just go on with the job when he's in front.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most aggressive competitors in this field, and I suppose there's a couple of the guys he's not endeared to because of his aggressive tactics, but he, as you said, he's a real winner as we see Trevor Hendy come round. And I've got the stopwatch on Trevor. He's 1 minute and 4 seconds behind Guy Andrews at the moment, so Guy has opened up an enormous lead heading back out into the chop and back out into the breeze.
Well, what do you reckon, Wayne? It's very interesting to see when the other guys come in as to what the gap is for second and third, and I tell you what, we can see now Guy Leech coming through on a wave and Scott Thompson, so there's no doubt that the two guys in third and fourth have also hauled in Trevor Hendy, and Sean Kenny has also moved up as well, so it looks to me that Trevor Hendy, Wayne, has really slowed up.
Yeah, well, Trevor's, he doesn't look to be in any distress, but whether or not he's content to take the series with a placing first, second or third, I don't know, but the big improver has been Sean Kenny. It's been a remarkable performance. He's improved his standing with each leg since that the run leg, and he's working through the rough, the chop now at the moment, and about to get out of the water. He's ahead. Well, actually, Scotty Thompson is ahead of Guy Leech, and Sean Kenny's just behind him, but Sean has been a remarkable performance as Scotty Thompson comes around. Now, Scott is 1 minute behind Trevor Hendy, 2 minutes and 4 seconds behind Guy Andrews, so they've still got a fair way to go, but 1 minute behind Trevor Hendy. He's made up a little bit of leeway as Guy comes around at the moment, and Guy does look in a bit of distress, Guy Leech, and Sean Kenny, he's powering up the beach, so Sean is looking better and better as each leg goes by.
Well, certainly as we go into the second half of this board leg, Guy Andrews stretching his lead. He put on something like 52 seconds there on Trevor Hendy, which is amazing because of the fantastic board man that Trevor Hendy is. We'll see what he does after the break when we return to the Hyatt Regency in Queensland. There's a lovely shot of the Daihatsu Feroza, which will be driven off the beach today by the winner of the Uncle Toby Super Series at the moment, Trevor Hendy. Looks like he's got it sewn up. He's in second position at the moment. However, this man, Guy Andrews, has stretched out to a lead of over a minute on Trevor Hendy at the moment. Then Hendy has a bit of a break back to Guy Leech and also Scotty Thompson. So still wide open. Trevor Hendy, he slipped back a little bit there. We'll see how he goes in the next part of the race. But in the meantime, let's go down to Wayne Pearce on the beach with Scotty Mortimer. And Wayne, you've seen the boys come through there. Firstly, no dramas with the rest of the field?
No dramas with the rest of the field. There's a fair break. I mean, the guys who have just come through, the likes of Rideau is in excess of 5 minutes behind the leading bunch. So, I mean, those guys, him and Johnny Crow, have got a fair way to go. But unfortunately for Scotty Mortimer, the race is over, and it's pretty tough out there, Scott.
Oh, yeah, it's very tough, especially for when you've got a head cold like I have at the moment. That run through the golf course and so on is just so hot, it just takes so much out of you.
The run itself, it's important to take water, not only in the run leg, but just how important it is to take the fluids in for the rest of this race.
Oh, especially with the heat, it's very important. When you've got a race with a run like that at the start, it takes so much out of you for the rest of the race. I think that's probably one of the main things you have to remember is to take fluid in. I think for me, it was just having glandular fever last year and having the first race up this year, the Coolum to Gold, like this 4-hour race, it just drained me for the rest of the season, I think.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Scott, and hope you recover.
Okay, thanks, Wayne.
And it's back to you, Eddie, in the studio.
Yes, good on you, Piercy, and we've just had some sensational news, and Wayne will get you to have a bit of a look, and we can see it on screen at the moment that Craig Riddington, one of the stars of this Uncle Toby Super Series, has pulled out of the race. So Rideau was distressed. He looked to be distressed after the run. He never really got into it, did he? But Wayne's down there at the moment. Wayne, what's happening with Rideau? Wayne's just getting into position now. We'll be speaking to him in a few moments' time. Wayne, what's going on?
Tell us himself. He looks pretty tired. What's the problem?
Yeah, didn't have it. I went in today sort of hoping to sort of finish the race because I've been sick for 2.5 weeks from before Portsea, and just didn't have it. I was either going to have it or wasn't.
Well, you gave it everything, and it's just one of those races. What's the toughest thing about this race?
That run leg. I mean, it was gut busting from the very start of the race, but just that run leg was killer.
Who's going to win it from here? We've got Guy Andrews out in front. He's really pushing it all the way, and Trevor's probably about a minute behind him. Is it Guy to win from here?
Yeah, Guy's looking pretty strong with that swim leg to come, yeah. I would say so.
Thanks for talking to us, Rideau. Hope you're okay.
Thanks, Wayne. Let's watch the other guys there.
And back to you again, Eddie.
Tony Wayne, as we can see, Guy Andrews powering through there.
Well, you might have noticed too, as he came through that drink station, through the Schweppes drink station, he took a power of water. He really did. He had a whole bottle of Evian on the way up, and then he threw about another 2 glasses of water into himself. So it's very hot, and Guy Andrews taking no chances. Hendy now a long way behind. He's not even into that wave area yet. He's pushing hard to try and pull over these runs. But Trevor Hendy, we'll have to wait and see how much that the run leg has taken out of Trevor Hendy as well. He's pushing hard to get over this wave, as only Trevor Hendy can do. He'll now try and take a rest through to the beach, lie down, suck in some oxygen and get prepared for this swim. I'll be very interested to see how he goes in the swim leg. If Trevor Hendy has a weak leg, you probably find it very hard to say that he has a weak leg, but his least strongest leg would be his swim, and we'll know all about exactly how Trevor Hendy is feeling when he jumps into the swim. He's going to have to work on his own in second place. There is a field of guys behind him. Scott Thompson and Guy Leech are definitely closing the gap on him. And, of course, Sean Kenny is right in there. And also, Dwayne Thies now has moved into 6th position. And Dwayne Thies, he's got his ski leg to come. He's very, very strong. Hendy now throwing down as much water through that Schweppes drink station as he possibly can. And he'll jump into the swim now. And he's got a long way to go still in this race, probably another 40 minutes still to go. And this is going to be a true test of his courage. There's no doubt in my mind that he's feeling a fair bit of pain. You can see he's stretching his arms there, and there's the lead. They're not far behind him now. Scott Thompson, Sean Kenny, Guy Leech I'm sure is in there somewhere, but Scott Thompson will jump into this swim and he will go after Trevor Hendy. There is no doubt he'll go after Hendy. And Sean Kenny, the guy in the red cap down the left-hand side of your screen, has represented Australia in still water swimming. He's probably, along with Craig Rinnington, the strongest swimmer in the field, and they're just about to jump into the swim. So Sean Kenny would be very confident about moving up into 2nd position at the end of this next swim leg. So Wayne Pearce, this race certainly for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th is wide open.
It certainly is wide open, and as far as the times are concerned, Trevor Hendy's 1 minute 20 seconds, or was 1 minute 20 seconds behind Guy Andrews going into this final swim leg. And Scotty Thompson, well, he's made up a fair bit of time. I'll give you a time on him as soon as he hits the water, but he's looking very, very comfortable. Sean Kenny, I'm just amazed by his performance today. He's really worked his way up through the field. He had a little disappointing in that board leg, but he's really worked his way up through the field. And Guy Leech,
he
just getting out of the water at the moment. He does. He looks very weak, lethargic. Actually, you can look at the expression on his face. He's showing pain. As we see Scotty Thompson going to the water, he is 55 seconds behind Trevor Hendy. So he has made up 5 or 6 seconds on that second half of that board leg. And it looks like Sean Kenny. Sean Kenny is only another 5 seconds behind him. So they're definitely making ground on Trevor Hendy. Whether Trevor can hang on or not, we'll have to wait. But as Leachy jogs past me along the soft sand here, his legs are very low. His arms aren't moving. So that's a good sign that he's very, very tired at the moment.
Okay, and now the hardest part of all, at least when you see, and Dwayne Thies is the one who's really moved through here, and Dwayne Thies up in 6th position, and he looks very keen. You can just see, Eddie, the look on their faces as to whether they're feeling good or not. Notice the way that Dwayne looks really sharp. His head's turning, his eyes are wide open. He's grabbing his goggles. He's alert. He's feeling good. You can tell that he's still got a lot left. Whereas when Leachy hit the beach, he was rolling around slowly. His head was turning slowly, and he looked, as Wayne said, very slow, very lethargic. So this guy, Dwayne Thies, who's a former Australian Ironman champion and a former world Ironman champion, who had a terrible start to the season, is moving through very quickly through this field. He finished 5th in this race last year after being 3rd almost at the finish and losing his board. Hayden Reese now also looks like he's coming good. at the second half of this race. He's up in 7th position. So Trevor Hendy and the guys in 3rd, 4th and 5th are really going to have to work to hold these guys off, because there is a lot of guys going very fast and a lot of prize money at stake in this race.
Yes, as you said, Guy Andrews was powering through the change there before. We've got him out in front there at the moment. He looks like he's going beautifully at the moment, and we'll just see how he goes for the rest of the race when we come back after this break. Welcome back to the Hyatt Regency Coolum. A lovely shot there going across the golf course here at the Hyatt Regency, out towards the beach, where we have our leader, Guy Andrews, who, Mick Porritt, you described him in the break there as an animal of the circuit. He really loves getting out in front and leading from the front and going on for the kill.
Well, he's been criticised by some of the other guys that say that in a race he's too aggressive, that at times he, you know, he says things which, you know, are very aggressive, but that's just the way the guy is. He's very, very confident. He loves winning. He loves racing. He's scared of no one, and you just knew that when he got his lead here, he broke away from Trevor Hendy in the board league. Now, most of the other guys say, well, hang on, Trevor Hendy's everyone says that Hendy's got the field psyched out, don't they? And Hendy's just too good. Everybody knows Hendy's the world champ. He's also the board paddling champ. So what does Andrews do? Andrews basically blows him away in the very leg that he's the best at, which is the board league. And you can see Hendy now is desperately trying to hang on to that second position.
It's hardly a criticism, is it, to be criticised for being too aggressive in a sport like this?
Oh, that's for sure.
OK, well, let's have a look at the splits on the first 8 places now. And we can see Guy Andrews well out in front, 1:21 on Trevor Hendy.
Yes, and then Scott Thompson, Sean Kenny, Guy Leech looking now like he's dropping back, and he's got to be very careful, Guy Leech, because he could lose a lot of money on today's race. Dwayne Thies then next in 6th, and he really did look superb. And then Hayden Reese. And you can see the crowd now really revving up and giving him a huge cheer as he comes to the beach. His father, Colin, just giving him a drink and saying, come on, you can do it, son, you've got this race. And he's going to go around this Uncle Toby's banner. He's now starting to feel it. You can tell that Wayne is probably feeling some pain, but I tell you what, if this guy gives up, I'll walk nude back to Sydney.
I don't think there's any worry about doing that, Mick.
Let's hope he doesn't.
That's why I mean, spare us the thought. But he's an ideal competitor over this distance, and he knows he's in front. It's amazing when your confidence up. You know you can see the finishing line, which he can do. There's a long way to go still, but he can see the finishing line, and it just makes you feel a lot fresher. And he's just improving that gap between him and the rest of the field, and he's looking tremendous.
And Hendy just coming into the wave area now. Wayne, he's looking for a wave out the back, and just trying to pull onto a little one here, and Hendy would be desperately hoping to toll the wave right through to the beach. And at the moment, he's had to put his head back down and swim back into the beach, and it's these sort of things that can make a bit of a difference. There's a little wave now peaking up, and Hendy will try and push over this, but no, he's had to swim right into that channel, Wayne, which can make a bit of a difference if the guys behind can pull a wave.
Oh, there's no doubting that. I mean, it's a matter of whether or not the guys can catch Trevor, because Trevor looks as though he's struggling somewhat at this stage of the race. Sean Kenny and Scotty Thompson, they're picking him up as the race goes on, so whether or not they've got enough left to try and catch him before the end of the race is another thing. But that's where the race lies at this stage. Guy Andrews has got this race sewn up, but it's going to be a race for the minor placings. That's where all the interest is lying.
Well, and of course, the minor placings are going to mean a huge amount of money. If Guy Leech can finish second overall in the series, and he will secure $28,000 plus $7,500 for the day, he could go back as far as 5th or 6th. And I tell you, if he does that, today's race could cost him something like $13,000 or $14,000. So Guy Leech certainly can't afford to muck around. And Sean Kenny now has moved into 3rd position. So it's been a marvellous performance from the 25-year-old and he's not far behind too. He's about to stand. Wayne, Sean Kenny has really narrowed that gap.
Yeah, Trevor made a bit of a blue, actually. He went far too north of the turning marker here. In fact, he was about some 100 metres up the beach, so he had to run back up around the turning marker and back in. And Sean came straight into the turning marker. That's where he picked up a lot of yardage. So he's, at the moment, 11 seconds behind Trevor and gaining. Scotty Thompson's another 3 seconds behind Sean Kenny. So they're definitely gaining on Trevor.
And is that Guy Leech? I think I just saw a sight of somebody catching a wave. Is that Guy Leech?
It looks like Guy's cap at the moment. Yeah, it is actually, but there's not much hope for him catching a wave in there. It's a bit of a deep channel there.
And there's Dwayne Thies has pulled a wave right next to him too. So Dwayne Thies has moved right up into 6th position. In fact, he's now challenging for 5th position next to Guy Leech, and Dwayne Thies has been able to hold this wave right through to the beach. So Dwayne is going to come right through. He's gone past, and Dwayne will stand, and he's going to move right up here. Dwayne, of course, is a very, very good ski paddler, and we saw when he finished that board leg, he was the guy, Eddie, who actually looked very, very strong, and you can see his stroke rating. Guy Leech now coming out of the water in 5th position. Guy Leech in 5th position, and Dwayne Thies now come right through in 6th, and he's not far behind him.
No, he's not. Actually, Guy's 1 minute and 10 seconds behind the pack in front of him. So, I mean, he's got a fair bit of catching up to do. And Dwayne, I've just got a time on him. He's 15 seconds behind Guy getting out of the water. So he's made up a lot of ground in that swim leg. And as you know, the swimming takes a lot out of you. So if Guy's not feeling it, and we can see Dwayne there, he just gets a smile, as he always does, and said, well, listen, I'm having the time of my life here.
I'm sure he turned around Dwayne to his handle then and said, you see the wave I got?
Well, Dwayne certainly looked a bit different than Guy Leech when he came out of the water there, once again emphasising what you were saying a bit earlier, Mick.
Yeah, he did, but he actually, when he jumped into the water, Piercy, I'd say that Leach actually looked a touch better, so maybe he's been cooled down a little bit by that swim, and maybe his body temperature's lowered a bit, and when he jumped into that water, he looked like he's just been a touch refreshed.
Well, he didn't look as refreshed as Dwayne, because he didn't give him the same sort of smile, but yeah, he did look better than the last run section he did. So it's the fluctuating fortunes of this race. It's amazing in a race of this distance how you go through the periods where you're feeling comfortable, where you go through the flat periods. It's just a matter of hanging in there, and let's hope he can hang in there, because he's a great competitor.
Okay, and as we head out towards Johnny Hole on that boat, Trevor Hendy now looks in real danger of being overtaken for second place. Sean Kenny has drawn right up behind him, and I tell you what, Sean Kenny could go past Trevor Hendy at any stage. Scott Thompson is tagging along. Guy Leech may well be refreshed slightly, and Dwayne Thies is also looking good. So, Johnny, depending on how Trevor Hendy is, it is not beyond calculations that Trevor Hendy could drop back further than 6 and perhaps even lose this series.
Well, I wouldn't be gambling on that at this point in time, but Sean Kenley was certainly the mover in that swim. Well, you've got to remember that he's won a race over this distance in the series with that fantastic performance at Manly when he won a race over 2 hours. So he's a proven performer over 2 hours. But he looked fantastic in that last swim leg. He was handling the chop as if it wasn't there, and he was swimming very aggressively, and it didn't surprise me at all to hear you say that he's now overtaken Trevor Hendy. But again, the one thing we've got to remember is that Trev would know exactly where he was in the scheme of things as far as the series. He wouldn't let this series slip away without one hell of a fight, Michael.
Okay, and as this race hots up, let's have a look at those split times at the halfway mark. You can see there Guy Andrews is in front, then Trevor Hendy, 1:52 behind, so he's really dropped off the pace. Sean Kenny, then Scott Thompson, then Guy Leech, Dwayne Thies, Hayden Reese and Miles Blackwell really doing fantastically well up in 8th position, one of the local boys. So there is a great race going on right through to 7th position. There's only a minute separating the top 7 positions, and remember, Hendy has to finish in the top 6, or only has to finish in the top 6 to win today. And Sean Kenny now has moved into 2nd position, so we have Hendy's now dropped back into 3rd, and Sean Kenny, the 25-year-old from Collaroy Beach in New South Wales, has moved into 2nd position and is really looking very, very strong.
Yes, Trevor Hendy starting to struggle a little bit there, and we'll be coming back to see if anyone else can get past Trevor Hendy when we come back after this break.
Thank you for making my last few moments on Earth socially awkward.
It's a brand new series of The Simpsons, and it starts tonight, followed by the comedy premiere of 92, starring Ross Higgins, Frankie J. Holden, and Sarah Chadwick. Late for school. Tonight on 10.
Super A-Mart's largest lounge liquidation event ever is on tomorrow. The lounges have closed in Queensland, so where are the lounges? Right here at Super A-Mart. A-Mart made the Lounges liquidator an offer he couldn't refuse. So tomorrow, with 12 months interest-free, Super A-Mart are almost giving away hundreds of...
Welcome back to the Uncle Toby's Super Series from the Hyatt Regency here at Coolum. Magnificent day and a great race as well. Guy Andrews now has only got the ski leg between himself and victory here. There has been a bit of a change, though, in 2nd place with Sean Kenny moving up and Scott Thompson moving in front of Trevor Hendy in 4th place.
Yes, that's sure, but I've just taken over. When you come into the wave area, it's a whole new proposition, because you can see now that Trevor Hendy has caught a wave out the back and he's come right through, but Sean Kenny has now caught another little one and gone past, so Sean Kenny maintains his position in 2nd. Trevor Hendy is in 3rd. Scott Thompson a little unlucky because he was behind, but Sean Kenny we spoke to earlier in the week about his tactics.
Tactics, once they get the board and the run out of the way, I think I'm right. That's not a worry, but I think once they actually hopefully get a good start in the board and maintain in the 5K run, then I can just concentrate on the water legs coming up. And in those water legs, there's 2 swims, which again are going to be where I'm hopefully going to make my mark as far as pulling guys back or making a break from the actual pack. So yeah, definitely the swim legs are going to be crucial for me.
Well, those swim legs certainly have proved crucial for Sean Kenny. There's no doubt about that, because that's where he has really made the time up, and he's right there with Trevor Hendy. And Hendy now hanging on there in 2nd position. Sean Kenny there in 3rd and Scott Thompson in 4th. So we're in a great battle going on when we hit this final ski leg. And if you have just joined us at the Hyatt Regency Hotel here for the 5th, 6th and final round of the Uncle Toby Super Series, we've been through a 2.4 kilometre board. We've had a 5 kilometre run, a 1.2 kilometre swim, a 3.6 kilometre ski, another 2.4 kilometre board. We've just finished the 1.2 kilometre swim, and we've got a final 3.6 kilometre ski to go. It's been an excruciatingly painful race because it has been so hot, about 30 degrees out there, and most of the guys have felt it very badly. We've had a number of dropouts, including one very notable one in Craig Riddington, who wasn't fully fit going into this race and has dropped out. And we have now coming towards the closing stages of this race. Let's have a look at the course map for this ski leg as they go from boys 1 to 4 in the first half, back into the beach, and then around boys 5 to 8 in the second half of this ski leg. Each side of that course 1.8 kilometres, and this is the part that's really going to sort the men out from the boys. But there's a young man out in front, Guy Andrews, who Johnny Holt doesn't appear to be feeling the pain at all. He looks just as strong, perhaps stronger now than he did at the start of the race.
Michael, I'd say he's reveling in the smell of victory, if you want to call it anything. I think he's really enjoying himself at the moment. He's having a fantastic time.
Yes, indeed. Well, Guy Andrews, certainly a versatile performer. He's proving that today. Another versatile performer appearing on Channel 10 tonight at 6:30. Bert Newton and New Faces. Some great performers on there tonight, followed at 7:30 by the new series of The Simpsons. At 8 o'clock, Late for School makes its premiere appearance on Network 10.
Okay, as Guy Leech hits the water now in 5th position, and there's a few blokes behind him who are very, very close, including Dwayne Thies and Hayden Reese. So Guy Leech knows he's going to have to get his head down and really go to hang on to 5th position. And as we speak, there is Dwayne Thies. You can see Leech in the background there as Thies comes through the swept sting station, and as they're still taking water, they're still taking fluids because there's still perhaps another 15, 20 minutes to go in this race. And they need to keep those fluids up throughout. Hayden Reese right in behind him, so Dwayne has got a great battle going on for 6th and 7th position. And I think that Dwayne would fancy himself on being able to catch up to Guy Leech, perhaps even some of the places in front. Very, very strong in the ski, and he really is back to form, Dwayne Thies. He's a former Australian board paddling champion and Ironman champion, and he does look great. You can see the stroke rating as Dwayne hits the ski. He's paddling faster than the other guys because there's no doubt that he's feeling fresher, and he has come good this season at the right end of the year.
Yes, well, he trails Guy Leech, who's the next competitor in front of him by some 41 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see how Dwayne goes. Guy Andrews, once again, is out in front. There he is, paddling along beautifully there. He leads Sean Kenny, who's in 2nd place by about 1:56. Trevor Hendy having a ding-dong battle there with Kenny as well. Just in 3rd place at the moment from Scott Thompson, and then Guy Leech, and we saw Dwayne Thies some 3 minutes and 52 seconds back from Guy Andrews, who is the clear-cut winner here.
Well, in 1988, this guy was the Australian Junior Ironman champion. He's only 21 years of age from Tugun Lifesaving Club. In 1989-90, he finished 7th in the Uncle Toby's Super Series in his debut year. Then again, last year, he moved up to 2nd place after winning an event and knocking off the best there is down in Glenelg. He's had a very consistent year, but by his own high standards, he's been very disappointed. He's had a 4th, a 3rd, a 9th in New Zealand where he had a virus, and he had a 4th at Portsea 2 weeks ago. So he has been very, very consistent all year, and it looks like he's going to go one better and also take out second place overall in the series, $28,000 plus $7,500. So it's a $35,000 payday for this young man if he can keep this going right through to the beach.
That's good enough reason to keep going. Let's have a look at the update now after the swim leg, going into this final ski leg. And Andrews, as we saw there just on screen a moment ago, clearly out in front from Sean Kenny, a minute 56 behind, equal place with Trevor Hendy. We saw them come around together. Scott Thompson, 2 minutes and 5 seconds behind in fourth place. Then Guy Leech, which of course is significant because Guy Andrews will now be able to jump in to second place overall, 3 minutes and 11 seconds behind. Then Thies, Reese and Blackwell.
And Johnny Holt, you might be able to update us. Miles Blackwell, I thought Andy Meikle was up there.
Well, Andy Meikle was up there before. I also saw Miles Blackwell. But the interesting thing is that Guy Andrews is going away. He's about 2 minutes 15 away and travelling away from him. But I think we'll need our calculators over the next 10 minutes, Michael, to work out who's going where and what, and with these minor places with all that money. Each place in this series on today's race could be as much as $4,000 to $6,000 per placing. So all these guys really better get the finger out, so to speak, in the last 20 minutes of this race to earn that big money.
Yep, that's for sure, and you can see him now. He's heading back in towards the beach, and he really does look so strong at this stage.
Michael, just a point, Scott Thompson has moved into second place. So Scott Thompson has moved into second place, Trevor in third, and Sean Kenny in fourth. So Scott Thompson really made a move through that break as he came out to sea in that last ski leg. Hendy's still okay in third place, Sean Kenny in fourth. Trevor would still be quite sure of where he was in the scheme of things as far as the series is concerned. But Scott Thompson's really, he's rating up a lot faster than the other guys and doing very well in second place.
And he's coming in towards the beach now. You can see him moving in. He's looking for a wave behind him. He's got about a 2-minute gap, so he's only got about 7 or 8 minutes to go now in the rest of this race. He's got to head in towards the beach now. He's on a little wave, go around the Uncle Toby's turning banner on the beach, back around for 1.6 kilometres on the ski, which should take him around about 8 minutes. So he's not far from the finish now, Wayne Pearce, and he certainly would know that he's in no danger of losing this race, and I guess right about now it starts to become quite a good feeling.
I'm sure he's feeling on top of the world at the moment. He should be, because you're going to pick up a lot of money. But as you say, when you're comfortably in front, you really, this sort of guy, some guys might sit, rest on their laurels and coast home, but this sort of guy wants to win by as far as he can. That's the sort of winner he is. That's the aggressive nature of the man, and you've got to admire him. He'd be loving this. He'd have the grin right across his face. He probably won't show us that, but internally he's going to be smiling. He's going to be enjoying this, and I'm sure he's taping this race because he'll keep this for a lot of years to come. It's been perhaps his best performance so far in the 3 years of the Super Series.
Well, you're dead right. He really is so far in front, and it's been a magnificent performance after a year that perhaps he felt he could have done much better, and he's had a bit of a troubled year. He's right back to his best and looking very, very good.
Okay, then when we return, we'll have a look at Guy Andrews going for glory here at Coolum. Welcome back to the Uncle Toby Super Series live from the Hyatt Regency Coolum. Mount Coolum there in the background. That is what Guy Andrews will be looking at very shortly as he paddles into victory here in the final race of the series for 1991-92. And Mick, we've got Leachy and Kenny there in screen at the moment, and Sean Kenny had a bit of a mishap, just coming into shore there a moment ago.
Well, you can see Trevor Hendy up in the right-hand corner of your screen there in third position. Sean Kenny was right next to him. In fact, they were on the wave together coming in, and Sean lost it, fell off, and has dropped 2 places. And again, big money involved in this, and that was a mistake. He dropped down the wave late and actually lost it. So a mistake from Sean that's going to cost him dearly financially, and also in terms of his overall position in the series. But there you can see second, third, fourth and fifth out in the top right-hand corner of your screen. That's Scott Thompson from North Bondi, who's in second place, and looks like he could well have second place wrapped up. So it's been a marvellous performance, a great year from Scotty Thompson. He's really improved all year. Trevor Hendy in third position, and you can see him on the furthest right on your screen there, and Trevor Hendy will have the Uncle Toby Super Series wrapped up again for 1992. This young man has finished best place so far this year, third. He's going to go 2 better today. He's going to finish first today. He's about a 2-minute leader, and when he hit the lead in that first in that second board leg, which is about the halfway mark, when he really made a big break on Trevor Hendy. That was the turning point of this race, and from that moment on, he went on strength to strength. He's a very aggressive young man. He told me yesterday that he felt that he was a good chance of winning. He'd had a flu at Portsea, which dropped him right back to 9th position, and he knew he could do so much better. He felt, after winning last year, how could he go through this season without a victory? And today was the last day, the last chance he had of doing that. And Johnny Holt, he can be a bit inconsistent at times, but when he's on, he is really on, this guy.
Certainly is, Michael. Just looking here, I might have a photo of Scott Thompson coming around. He's certainly on his day as well. It's in second place, and it looks in great form. As you said, that's his best performance ever in this series, and he'll be very, very proud of how he's going today.
Yes, that's for sure. He's going to finish top 5 overall in the series. As we look back now to 3rd, 4th and 5th coming out through the break, that's Trevor Hendy. You can see now just how far Trevor Hendy has fallen behind, and Guy Leech in 4th position. John Holt looks like he's got Hendy in his sights, and he's going after him.
Well, certainly, we said earlier, these guys will be racing for between $4,000 and $6,000 dollars for every place. So whether Guy Leech has got his second win and thinks he can reel in Trevor Hendy remains to be seen. We've only got about 1 kilometre to go of the ski, probably 5 or 6 minutes to go. Leech has got second win. He looks a lot more aggressive.
Oh, he sure does, John. Yeah, don't forget, if Leechy can catch and pass, you can see that Trevor Hendy in front of him. If he can catch and pass Trevor Hendy, that means he'll finish 3rd today, which will give him 2nd overall on the points ladder with Guy Andrews. Yeah, Guy Andrews will pick 2nd up on his own if Leech finishes 4th or worse.
Well, we've got interesting numbers. Keep those calculators at the ready, you guys. But Trevor seems to be still going well with the following C. Whether Leech can pick up that 50 metres or not remains to be seen. Sean Kenny coming in 5th place. Great performance from Sean Kenny. He's had a great season as well, and this is a fine performance by him.
Yes, and he was very unlucky too, as we have a look at a long shot now of Guy Andrews, and he really does look sensational. He's not dropped off his stroke at all. That rating is still up. He's got no longer than perhaps about 500 or 600 metres to go. He's heading north along the water's edge. A great shot there. You can see some of the other 2nd, 3rd and 4th place getters right out the back down the top of your screen. They've got to come right around those boys and back into the beach. He's got an enormous lead. In fact, Eddie, we'll wait for the split times, and perhaps we'll have to go through the record books in terms of winning times, but I'd venture to say that this is perhaps the biggest ever winning margin. I think he's well over 2 minutes in front, and even Leechy hasn't ever won one of our 2-hour races by that sort of margin. So it really is a phenomenal performance from this young man, only 21 years of age, and I really do wonder just how good he can get.
Yes, it's certainly a magnificent performance, but the fact, as you mentioned a couple of times already, Mick, that he was able to really set up his win by dragging Trevor Hendy off on the board, which is seemingly just an impossible situation in general terms. To be able to do that and set up his win has just been fantastic.
Okay, we might just follow him into the beach because he's looking for a wave here. There's a nice swell behind him, and it'd be a nice way to finish if he could take this one right through. He's pulled a little wave here, and he's really had to turn sharply to get around that other ski paddler on the way out. And you can see him now. He's got time to adjust his hat now. He knows he's well in front, and it's always a great moment as they hit the beach and they hear the screaming of the crowd. He's got about 100 metres to go before he hits the beach, and then he'll wait anxiously to see the places of those behind him to see where he will finish overall on the points table. Little wave coming up now. His father, Colin, I know, has been worried about Guy's form all season. Colin actually coaches him, and his father, Colin, and I know the Tugun Surf Club boys right now would be extremely happy. They were concerned that Guy's been off his form this year, but he's right back to his best, and what a one to finish it with. You can hear the crowd now. You can hear them screaming in the background, and he'd have a real adrenaline pump, and he's lifted his arm in the air.
He certainly has.
He is really proud of himself. He's got time to give his dad a real clap. His dad has stuck by him right through all this season and coached him, and he's really a very, very happy young man. I've never seen a guy work so hard and so fiercely, and Guy Andrews will come around now as he pats the hands of everyone in the crowd. And round 6, the final round of the Uncle Toby's Super Series, goes to Guy Andrews. Absolutely sensational performance from this young man. He has murdered this field. He really has. He is so far in front, it's not funny. And I guess Eddie, they'll have to look back at this now and the others and think, my God, what is this guy capable of in years to come at 21 years of age?
Well, Trevor Hendy has dominated the sport for the last few years. Maybe now he's the man who's going to challenge for the crown. And the big question now is Guy Leech. Can he hang on or get past Trevor Hendy and get the equal second in the series overall? Trevor Hendy, of course, has got the series pretty much wrapped up now. He'd have to nearly fall off and drown to get beaten, but here we go.
And there's Scotty Thompson now, the big improver, Scotty Thompson, coming through for second place. And as we said a little bit earlier on in the telecast, Scotty wouldn't know, but tonight at the awards banquet, he will be, regardless of today's performance, he will be awarded with the Uncle Toby's Improver of the Year. He'll be given that great award because he finished 8th in last year's series, and he will finish at the very worst 5th. We'll wait for those final points, but he's had second place at Portsea and another second place now, which puts him right up with the big boys. 27 years of age, young Scott Thompson, and he's been around for a long time. And he will be absolutely delighted with this performance. And 2 second places in a row. I think Scott now knows that he's in a position next year to launch an operation to perhaps even win this series overall. Scott Thompson now coming up towards the finish line. Second place overall in the Uncle Toby Super Series. Scott Thompson from North Bondi. And all interest now in third. Trevor Hendy looks like he's just hang on. He's really sprinting. Leech is just behind him on a little wave. Hendy looking over his shoulder. And he's really sprinting towards the line, but he's safe now. Trevor Hendy will be safe for third position, which means that Guy Andrews will take overall second place in the series. Trevor Hendy now will run up around this turning mark and through to the finish line as we see Guy Leech in screen. A courageous performance from him, there's no doubt. And the unofficial winner of the Uncle Toby Super Series for the 3rd year running, Trevor Hendy, and what a marvel this guy is. 3 years in a row. Who would have thought it was possible 3 years ago for anyone to do that? And Guy Leech, dead set, a courageous performance. We saw how badly he looked and must have felt Eddie early on, but he's hung in nicely and really challenged for 3rd place.
And a nice shot there. Obviously, Leachy realising that he has dropped to 3rd place. One of the first people to go up to him was Guy Andrews, and there's a great camaraderie between these great competitors. Now, there's a good race here coming in.
Well, this is a fantastic race for 4th position, and for 5th position, and Sean Kenny has been very unlucky here because Dwayne's come through on a little wave and Sean fell off on the last time in. It's going to be a great sprint finish, and Dwayne Thies moving across to the right, trying to cut him off, trying to hope that he can't get through on this wave. It's going to be a little finish. Now Dwayne cuts back to the left, right up towards, he dragged him across to the right, and then cut quickly back to the left. There's going to be a great sprint finish here, big dollars on offer, and Dwayne Thies first off the ski, and he's sprinting towards the line, and I think he'll have 5th wrapped up. A great tactical manoeuvre there from Dwayne Thies, and he was a long way back at the end of that run, and has sprinted through and taken 5th position overall, relegating Sean Kenny back into 6th. Great finish there for 5th and 6th overall, and I feel a little sorry for Sean Kenny, where he was up in 3rd position. In fact, only about 50 metres behind Scott Thompson, and fell off that wave, which has ended up costing him 3rd and 4th, and he's in fact dropped right back to 6th place. But Dwayne Thies, what a competitor he is.
Yes, he certainly did. Last year, of course, he had a little bit of trouble at the end, but this year he's come through and finished in 5th position. But today has belonged to Guy Andrews, and he speaks with Wayne Pearce on the beach.
Well, Guy, you've had a great season, fantastic season. You've capped it with your best performance ever. You seemed to go from strength to strength as the event went on, and how enjoyable was it?
Oh, well, I didn't consider it a win until that last little bit coming in the ski. You know, anything can happen, but it's great to have a win under my belt, and I was a bit worried with 1 race to go. I thought I wasn't going to win a race this year, and it's just fantastic.
With 3 legs to go, you were 2 minutes in front. I think most competitors were entitled to sort of take it a bit easier and rest on their laurels, but not you. You wanted to win by as much as possible.
Yeah, I thought I'd just try and run it into the ground as much as I could and just keep going hard all the way, and it's just enjoyable being out in front like that, and when you know you're going to win, it's a great feeling. Yeah.
And from here, it's an off season.
Yeah, well, we've got national titles and state titles, and I'm just going to take a few weeks off now and just enjoy competing.
And party mode tonight?
Oh, I think so. I just quickly say hello to all my mates back in Newcastle and at Chugan Surf Club on the Gold Coast.
And Guy, Mick Porrick, can you hear me?
I can't hear
you. No, we can't hear you.
Can't hear, okay.
Well, Guy, congratulations, fantastic effort, and have a good party tonight.
Yeah, well.
Okay, there we had, of course, today's winner, Guy Andrews, a huge winner, magnificent performance. When we return, we'll have the winner of the Uncle Toby's Ironman Super Series for 1992. Yes, welcome back to the Hyatt Regency here at Coolum. A magnificent race today. Mick, Guy Andrews, fantastic performance, and of course Trevor Hendy, well, you know, he has won the series and certainly deserved to. Another magnificent performance right up there amongst the leaders.
Yeah, well, he's had 2 firsts overall for the series. So, I mean, you know, out of 5 races, he's had two firsts and a third. So he's done incredibly well. Let's just have a look at those standings today overall. Guy Andrews finished first, and really a big victory for him. Scott Thompson, magnificent, up into second place. Hendy hanging on in third. Then Leech, Dwayne Thies, great performance. Sean Kenny, Miles Blackwell, and Hayden Reese in 8th place.
Okay, then, well, let's go down to Guy Leech, who, of course, looks like he may have dropped back to 3rd overall in the series tally, and he's down on the beach now with Wayne Pearce.
Well, Guy, it's been a disappointing race for you, I suppose. I mean, ups and downs. You went through some flat periods, you went through some strong periods, but as you were just saying, that run leg was probably the deciding thing.
Well, I really just toughed it out today. It was one of those races where I honestly thought prior to the race I was going to win, but the run leg took a hell of a lot out of me, and I was looking at other guys running past them, and I thought I was looking bad, and they were just looking shocking, you know. It was really frightening out there. I got back into the water after the next swim and really tried to push that to get back in the lead pack, because I thought that was the only way I could win the race. Tried to do that, and it just really knocked me around. The next board leg, I really thought, I said to my coach, Rod Taylor, I said, mate, I'm in big trouble here.
There were some flat periods, and then you seem to come good, then you get flat again. Is that a result of just putting so much effort into the chop, working the chop?
Well, I thought, well, I go the run leg to try and get up to the lead pack. There was the 3 of them. I was about 25, 30 seconds back. And I thought, well, it's just too hot to commit myself so early in the race. And I thought, well, I'll do it the next swim leg. I really tried, and I did catch up. I caught up to Scott Thompson. The next board leg we were together, and I said to Scotty, I said, mate, I said, I just can't get going, because he was sort of sitting behind me and hitting the back of my board, and I said, mate, I'm gone. He went, and then Sean went past me, and then the last ski leg, I actually went past Sean and nearly caught up to Trevor. So, I mean, I came back at the end, and maybe I needed another half hour out there, but it was really scary at times out there, because I really didn't know that I was going to finish.
It's been a great series all up. There's been some surprises. There's been some consistent performers. You've been one of the real consistent performers. You missed the first race. The pressure was on you from there, and you've stood tall and handled the challenge, met the challenge, and I think it's full marks to you. You're happy with the series overall?
Yeah, well, at the beginning of the series, I couldn't do the first race, and the second one I got 6th with no training, and I got sick again after that because I pushed myself so hard, and I honestly thought I just better miss the whole season. So to come back and actually, after thinking that, and get a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th in the next 4 races, you know, I think that was a terrific effort. And really, this year wasn't the best Guy Leech, or wasn't as good as Guy Leech can go. And I think hopefully that next year, with injury-free and sickness-free, I should do a lot better.
And I'm sure Guy Leech will get better as he gets older. Have a great off-season. We'll see you again next year.
Thanks, Piercy.
Back to you, Eddie.
Yes, good on you, Wayne. And Guy Leech down there, a little bit disappointing today. Did fight on beautifully. They showed a lot of courage and determination to almost overtake Trevor Hendy in the end.
Yeah, well, you've got to understand just how much pain these guys go through in these races. It's easy sitting here from you and I to watch them, but boy, they go through so much pain. It's extraordinary, and it was courageous to fight back.
Very easy, because you know a little bit about Uncle Toby Super Series, Trevor Hendy. Welcome back to the Hyatt Regency here at Coolum. A magnificent place to have an Ironman series and a magnificent race to finish it off as well.
Well, what a great race to finish it with. And if we have a look at now at the overall standings, the adjusted standings, there's Trevor Hendy up in 1st place, so he's won by 6 points. Then Guy Andrews on 90. Guy Leech has hung in for 3rd. Then Scott Thompson, he's been the big improver, 85 points. Bridington, despite pulling out, has finished 5th. Then Sean Kenny. Jonathan Crowe has moved past, and Murray Cox, who was 6th going in, has dropped back to 8th. Then Hayden Reese, Andrew Mickle, good to see him back in the top 10. Jay Gilbert, Dwayne Thies, who was well back further than 12th and has moved up to 12th. Barry Newman, Rick Pallister, John Robertson, despite not starting in the last 3 races, is still in 14th. And Brent Payne fills out the 16th spot overall.
Yes, Mick, some magnificent performances throughout the series, but the man of the series for the 3rd year in a row, the great man himself, Trevor Hendy, joins us in the studio. Trevor, congratulations, a magnificent series yet again after what started badly when you had pneumonia.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. I was just thinking today in that race, you know, This is the 5th race I've done in a row since pneumonia, and it's just all caught up with me. I basically got out there near the lead so I could get in the top 6, and from there on I was just going, oh no, when's it going to finish?
And we were saying during the commentary, I was certainly saying that you looked to me like you were in awful pain, particularly in that board leg, where your best leg, and you dropped way back on Guy Andrews, and I thought, yeah, it's survival for you out there.
Yeah, I had cramps in one arm. I think that was because of my finger in the ski leg, and really bad gut aches and all sorts of things. I fell off my board at one stage, which I just don't do, except this year I've done it a couple of times. But yeah, I'd lay down there. I just needed a rest so badly. Every time I got in the little run legs, it just felt like bliss to be in the run again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then it was good to get back into the water again after a little run.
Yeah, and we're saying after that board leg, you had to get into the swim and swim on your own. It must have been, felt like a light year trying to get through that swim leg.
Exactly, and then I put in a bit of effort to make sure I stayed in front of the boys that were chasing me, and I got back into the wave area and got nothing.
Yeah, that's
so
right,
I was looking everywhere. I threw my goggles away and everything to get a wave, and couldn't find one, and that really hurt.
Now, you were fully aware, of course, that you had to finish in the top 6, only to finish in the top 6 to win. But for a while there, some of the guys behind, including even Dwayne Thies and Hayden Reese, started to really close that gap on you.
Sure, yeah, I could see the guys making up the top 5, and then I had a look and I saw Dwayne, and I didn't know whether it was Hayden or somebody else there, and I knew they'd really move, you know, coming into the craft legs and stuff. So I always thought the way I felt, you know, I could have dropped right out the back, and unlike, you know, Rideau had a result up his sleeve and pulled out today, so he still managed the 5th, and for Guy Leech and myself, we couldn't pull out. You know, going into the race, you've got to finish, and that's really hard mentally.
Well, Trevor, you've got the Nationals coming up soon. You're going to have a bit of a break before Hendy. You've still got that broken finger there. That still needs a bit of treatment on it.
Yeah, well, I basically kept it in the splint today to make sure that I didn't bend the last joint, and I'm supposed to keep it straight for 2 weeks. And hopefully I can get back into a bit of ski work in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, yeah, well, I guess, Trevor, you would have, not in your wildest dreams 3 years ago when the series was first set up, that you would have thought you'd be sitting here for the 3rd year in a row. It really is quite a phenomenal performance. I mean, I personally thought there was no way in the world someone would be sitting here 3 years in a row.
Yeah, well, obviously when the series first started, I was pretty excited about the whole thing, to get into a series that had so many mixed races. You know, it was basically to find Australia's best overall Ironman rather than the endurance or the short course. We all knew who they were. And to get, you know, to win it 3 years in a row with a combination of races like that, which is a different challenge every race, I've been wrapped. I've had a great 3 years, and 2 cars later, I'm smiling.
Well, yes, that's what I'm just about to get to, that second car part as well. Congratulations, Trevor and Mick. You've got a very pleasant task in handing over the keys to a wonderful Daihatsu.
I sure have. I have the keys to the Daihatsu Feroza 4-wheel drive, and you just about got a garage full of these now, but congratulations, and my great pleasure to hand over the keys to the Daihatsu Feroza, and I'm sure that'll come in great use for you with training and the annual trip up to Fraser Island.
Yeah, exactly. We've been heading off to Fraser and Moreton and Stradbroke, all the islands after the series each year, and Fraser always comes in handy for that, that's for sure.
Well, congratulations, mate. Again, a marvellous performance. It's been a great season. You started off slowly with pneumonia and came back and had 3 firsts and 2 thirds. You can't do a whole lot better than that.
Yeah, I think, you know, the first year, the worst 2 results I had were 2 fifths. Last year I had 2 fourths, and this year I had 2 thirds. So I started off bad this year, and it was such a big challenge that I ended up doing really well. You know, I always love a challenge, so I've enjoyed it.
Good on you, Trevor. Congratulations on a magnificent series. Once again, congratulations on the Feroza and all the rest of it. We'll see you back next year again.
Thanks, Eddie.
Trevor Hendy, who has cleaned up the Uncle Toby Super Series once again. When we come back, we'll look back on the whole series. Yes, some of the magnificent sights here at the Hyatt Regency Coolum. It's been a magnificent Ironman series the whole year. Trevor Hendy, for the 3rd year in a row, the Ironman Super Series winner. And, of course, today, Guy Andrews taking out in absolutely fantastic fashion today's win. Well, some fantastic viewing coming up on Channel 10 tonight as well. Just having a look, Bert Newton with New Faces at 6:30, followed by The Simpson, brand new series at 7:30, and then the premiere of Late for School, the new Australian comedy, at 8 o'clock. So, of course, as usual, all the great entertainment on the Entertainment Network on Channel 10, starting at 6:30 tonight. Well, Mick, we had some fantastic entertainment this afternoon. Guy Andrews now, today he went past Guy Leech as far as grabbing 2nd place overall. Is that the sign of things to come? Is Guy Andrews now the man to press Trevor Hendy?
I think that he certainly is going to be very hard to beat. There's no doubt about that. But when you think that Guy Leech finished 4th in the first year series, he finished 5th last year, and he's come up to 3rd this year. At 27 years of age, I think that he can continue to compete until he's perhaps 35. So I wouldn't write Guy Leech off in a million years, and I know you're not suggesting that. But next year, we're talking a ding-dong battle between Hendy, Leech and also Andrews. But, of course, there's so many other guys coming through the field. It's been a great year. Hendy, again, gets there, I think, because of his consistency, his will to win, and his fantastic surf skills.
Well, what about Andrews? What does he have to do now to... You said he's a bit erratic at times. He is a bulldog. He certainly has the tenacity. What does he have to do now to really get himself into that consistency that Trevor Hendy has? Yeah, he had a few problems, actually, in the off-season where he had a few personal problems, actually, which knocked him about during the middle of the season. He told me about. I think that perhaps he's got to get his home life in order, and I think he's got to concentrate hard on his surf skills. And no doubt, I believe he has the potential to win the series overall. But it's going to be hard for anyone to beat Trevor Hendy. Well, I was going to say, there's no stopping Trevor Hendy, though, at the moment, is there? He's only 23 years of age. It's not bad, 3 years in a row. That's right. All right, well, that wraps it up what's been a magnificent series. Tim Webster had the pleasure of being here for the first few races. I've been able to cover the last two. Next year, again, the Uncle Toby Super Series will be in full flight. Yes, it will, there's no doubt, and next year we're looking for a fantastic series. We've got a new race that we haven't actually told anyone about it yet. We're going to actually talk about that later in the season. It's called Survival. It's going to be the toughest race we've ever had, so I can't wait for that one. It is going to be a beauty. Good on you, Mick. Well, good luck with that, and we hope to be back next year. It's been fantastic, the whole Super Series, but on behalf of all the crew here at Coolum, good afternoon.
Next, the 10 Eyewitness News. And tonight, what a powerful new lineup. 6:30, New Faces with Bert Newton. The Simpsons at 7:30, and the top new Aussie comedy, Late for School, here on Channel 10.